So I'm back to the velvet underground, back to the floor that I love, to a room where
song makes me think about Brian. I can't even hear you.
Should I be worried?
No.
I hear myself back, by the way.
Oh, you don't anymore.
All right, test 1, 2. Nope, I do not.
When I play "Hold Me" by Fleetwood Mac, I think of Brian.
Special moments of Pat.
Too many PAX trips. Hello, Mr. Brian. How are you?
I am doing well. All right.
Now, Brian, did you break the website?
No, why? What's it doing?
Well, it's on a Plex website undergoing maintenance page.
Must be updating. Give it a minute.
Okay.
I'll log in there just to double check, but it
Okay.
should be updating a plugin.
Okay.
It does that while it updates and then puts it back.
So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go to the...
But I will, it should be done by now, but I'll force it out of it.
Okay. Yeah, because Judd, of course, I posted the link. Judd's like, I can't get to the site. And I'm like, Jesus.
All right.
Yes, Mel, the song is older than me, but that's fine. I mean, so is most things in this world.
All right.
Yeah, we need to get the Cool Cat guy to redo our website. He's got all the great songs.
Oh yeah.
What is the Weed Expo or the Weed Awards or whatever award shows he's hosting?
I haven't figured out how in the world that, like, he does Cool Cat and then he does the Weed Awards. Just kind of an odd combo.
You have to be stoned out of your mind to think Cool Cat's a good idea.
Cool Cats is for kids. I mean, it's a great show for adults. I think they'd go hand in hand. It's just most people don't understand what Cool Cats
honestly,
is all about.
when I have a first date, Brian, I say, hey,
you ever heard of Cool Cats?
You want to watch a classic, a thriller, maybe the Titanic? No. Let me show you a $3,000 movie by a gentleman, and it's called Cool Cat, and they rock and roll and play the guitar. The 420 Awards. Is that what they're called? I have no idea.
Yeah, I think it's the 420 Awards. Which is
Look at this website. It's even got like a little animated GIF thing here of lights going across. Oh, it's a pay-per-view. Oh, nice. It's $4.20 to buy the pay-per-view. That's fantastic. But this is last year's 420 event. 420's in like 16 days.
I know. Hopefully he hasn't updated.
I don't think he's... it's not going to happen this year by the looks of it.
Well, I think what he does, from what it looks like he updates it after the fact.
Whoa.
Like he'll maybe change that poster for the award.
Holy shit. Look at this meme.
This keeps
this
going.
GIF. Whoa!
Perfect.
Wow.
Dude,
that's high energy right there.
I have cancer.
This is awful. And then at the bottom, Cool Cats and Best Buddies.
Well, you got to put your index of your favorite
What
sites.
the hell is the Trolley Trout? I've never heard of this character. Trolley makes...
Is that a new one he's working on?
I don't know. Trolley Trout.
All right, the site successfully updated.
Dude, to download this, it's an SWF file, which is an old Flash file, and Chrome has tagged it
Chrome
as...
doesn't allow... Yeah,
Chrome has tagged it as maliciously harmless and should not... Oh my god!
Now I don't think they allow. Sorry, it may be pulling up the thing again. I just told it to update more.
That's fine.
It'll only take a second though.
Oh, I got to get back to the trial.
The updates brought in more updates, so I was just fixing it.
So we've got Lisa, Mikey, Yo-Yo, Skipper, and then of course Trolley. Click here to play the match game. God, they're Flash games. They don't work.
Well, the problem is Edge browser's now using Chrome, which doesn't support Flash and Chromium and all.
I'm going to do something that I should not do and open this file and see what happens.
All right, let's see what happens. I mean, what's the worst that can happen?
Oh, I don't even have a program that'll play an SWF.
Yeah,
file.
they uninstalled Flash.
Well, this
Un-
isn't Flash though. SWF is like the other thing, isn't it? It's not like
But I'm saying no. That's a Flash file. They've SFV is that Flash. I don't remember what but this I think does the same player, and they've totally removed those from all Chrome.
I really can't. I mean, it's a Shockwave. It's an SF.
Shockwave
It's an
file.
SW
Yeah, I mean, you could download the Shockwave
How to
player from
open a
Adobe.com.
SWF file. There we go.
Just go to Adobe.com, and at the bottom, they
I don't
have,
think do they still offer it? Let's do a wiki how.
well, they might.
There's a website that'll do it. Oh, here we go. I don't trust this site.
Oh, that one's just a little too much. That one.
I mean, I trust Derek Savage.
I mean, why wouldn't you?
God, I got a dense
Was
.NET
the-
framework. Jesus Christ. What happened to
But if
just
you
being
go-
able to open an SWF file? I don't think Adobe makes
So
it
it-
available anymore.
So if you well, let's see. I'm looking right now. Oh yeah, they got rid of it.
They don't
It used to
offer.
be-
Yeah, it's not.
now
It's
they
not
just have
something they
Reader,
offer.
Photoshop, and Illustrator. They used to have all those at the bottom.
Oh, I can convert it. Okay, we can't do this right now.
To a video file.
Convert it to an MP4.
I have a converter that could do it.
Do you have Classic Media Player installed? No, I have VLC
Yes.
installed. Will VLC
If
play?
you use that, that's where I use. I have a codec pack
Oh.
that I use that includes all that stuff. Oh, is it going?
He's my very best friend. Yes, he is.
Look,
There we go.
there's another
Oh, there's
fish.
more.
But he is different.
There's
than
no
me.
video, though.
He's rounder and has whiskers, just like a roly poly.
Oh,
What? No.
Hey,
Oh,
Charlie the Trump.
Ugh.
He's the coolest fish there is. Charlie, hey.
I don't know how this guy needs to be on Twitch. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think he'd make money on Twitch.
Charlie the Trout.
Ooh, Charlie the Trout.
Oh, yes, he does. Oh, yeah.
this goes on for 9 more minutes. I'll save us all the. I'll save us all the. Okay. Wow, that was good. I didn't realize Charlie the Trout was a figure, so I'll keep that in mind. Let's see. Is the site up?
All right.
Yes, it is perfect. Okay. Okie doke.
All right.
we
I
have
got
a-
to do the notification. Hold on.
Okay.
You distracted me. I didn't even set the Steam notification yet. I'm just
Well,
sitting here.
I mean, I got
Bummed.
kind of excited about Charlie the Trout. Which could also be an innuendo for something else, but we're not going to go. We won't go
Oh,
there.
yeah.
No. Derek Savage would never go there.
Oh yeah, he's pure as the driven snow kind of guy. All right, I'm sending this notification and I will be good to go.
All right. We have a lot of news. We're going to have to probably cut some of the.
Well, I figure we
left
just pick and choose. We can be.
Yeah, the 2 things that you've got at the bottom that I just highlighted, I'm not going to. I didn't even download those because there's no way we get to that stuff on time. Because we've got a
Yeah,
bunch of
that
other
works.
stuff. So, all right. Well, you good to go?
Yep. I sent the notification.
Okay.
Maybe it'll pop up. Maybe it won't. We'll see.
Yeah. Well, maybe if you just trusted the plan harder, it would work. Let's see. All right. Stand by, folks. Oh, hold on. What is this? Smash Mouth. What is this? Hold on. Is this relevant to our conversation? Oh, yeah, I do remember that. Yeah, this guy from the Smash Mouth guy won the 420 award. I remember that. Yeah. All right. Stand by. Here we go. This is Infection, the survival podcast recorded live on Tuesday, April 6th, 2021, episode 325. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Welcome to another episode of Infection, the survival podcast. Infection is your source for the latest information on survival video games. We bring you the latest news, reviews, updates, and more each and every week. My name is Nick Craig. You can follow me on Gab at Nick. You can also check out my website that I just took ownership of, nickcraig.com. That's where I'll have all of the new stuff for my new endeavor. That'll be up there soon, nickcraig.com. Of course, this illustrious program, you can find more details about that at infectionpodcast.com. It's a Tuesday. He's alive, feeling.
I made it.
Looks like he's feeling it. Feeling it now, Mr. Krabs. Is Brian with an eye, Aldrich? Hello, Brian.
Yes. Well, hello. Thank you very much. Well, if you want to find me, we'll get this out of the way really quick, and then I'll tell you about my what happened when I attempted to inquire about my domain name.
I would absolutely love to hear about that.
All right. Well, if you want to find me, you can find me at Brian Aldridge on Parler or Gab, or you can still get on my website, biteoftech.com. Not brianaldrich.com, I'm sorry. Or if you go to our website, infectionpodcast.com, check out on the right-hand side and join our server on Discord. That's where people hang out throughout the week, submit news to the news channel. We have a lot of people playing Ark and various games in there. So if you're interested in joining us for that, just jump into Discord. It's free. And then if you want to join our Steam group and get a notification when we start the live show, so if you have Steam open, it'll pop up something. And then we have all our video forms. So we got Twitch, we got Twitch, YouTube, BitChute, and DLive, and those all are different ways that you can watch live or after the fact with the recorded versions. And then we have our podcast extras. If you go there, we have some pre and post shows. If you're interested in seeing those, maybe you can't listen to it live, but you want to see what we do during those. We've got some examples, and then we've got all the audio forms to the lower right. So those are not streamed live, but if you want to listen to it after the fact, you can always listen on one of those links. There's desktop apps, mobile apps, all kinds of different ways you can listen, and then follow along with the show notes. If you jump to whatever episode that that you're happening to listen to, we've got links for all the different topics that we discuss. We got a video link, an audio player, and then the links that we use while we're doing the show. So if you go ahead and select one of those, there's videos, there's all kinds of different things you can do, and that will help you to follow along perfectly and see exactly what we're seeing. If you want to support us, go to the top, you see the support option, or you can go to infectionpodcast.com/support. Or if you want, you can go to amazon.infectionpodcast.com, humble.infectionpodcast.com, or we have our Prime Gaming subs, or what's the other one? We have our Subscribe Star. Is it subscribestar.com/infection podcast or something like that?
Absolutely is, and I did not put the link on the website, but I will eventually soon.
That's
TM.
Right. We got this. Yeah. So I last week after you had told me that you had gotten your name domain, I was like, well, maybe I'll actually contact them and see if they come back with something reasonable.
Okay.
And instead, let's see if it says here. Instead, they came back to me because I offered them $100 for the name, which of course I figured they would throw back. And then they turn around and offer me, if I would like to buy it for $2,500, I can have the name. So that's where I'm at.
So this is a domain squatting company?
Yes.
Who is it?
ewebdevelopment.com.
Interesting. See, because like if they can make like $200 to $300, that's a pretty good profit margin for them. It only costs
They're
them
just
like
paying
$8
right now
a year. Yeah.
Yeah, and so it's like I'm surprised that they haven't. Well, they probably have some automated system. Who knows where? Here in a couple weeks they'll come back and say, "Oh, well, how about this price?" We'll see what they get down to because I'm not. It's not like I have to have the name. I could get brianaldridge.me. I could get anything. Whatever.
I wonder. I mean, no offense to you, Brian, but your domain is not worth 25. It's not like that's not even. I mean, it's not even a good domain. It's long. It's a name. Like it's not. It's not a good domain name. Like it's really
not like aldridge.com or brian.com. I mean, it's
not. That's not a good domain name.
Less people. But there's a professional comedian named Brian Aldridge. There's a senator or something like that for some state. Well, he got corruption scandal and is gone now, but Brian Aldridge. And then there is the Archers, this television show over in Europe, I guess, has a Brian Aldridge in it. So I think they're just looking at those and deciding that $2,500 is what it should be worth. But that's just, it's been sitting there for years. I've been watching it for years and years and years,
Yeah.
and it's been sitting there with nothing.
Well, I mean,
Kind of odd.
Very odd to be frank. So
Yeah, that they would come back with such a highball offer for something that I mean, I assume not everybody's looking up and making offers on the site on a regular basis.
on the Brian Aldridge, on BrianAldridge.com.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just again not a. No, I can't imagine it's a high commodity, but I could be wrong. Maybe I'm in the wrong.
I mean, how much does it cost to buy a dot whatever? I mean, I'm
And $10
away from that.
Yeah,
No, I'm saying if I could get dot Aldridge, let's get Brian dot Aldridge. I mean, with that's $10,000. It's only cost me $7,000 more. I could get my whole subroot, my root domain.
yeah. I mean,
Why
I don't
not?
think I'd recommend that, but I mean, that's
Then I could sell it to all the Aldridges for their private emails.
yeah, like Reagan.com.
Yeah, exactly. Just sell
Wow.
Brian at Aldridge. I mean, there's only
Well-
a certain number of names I can do. It's kind of a short business plan, but hey.
I hate I hate that they're trying to screw you around like that, but well, damn,
Yeah.
that
Oh, well.
sucks. Sorry.
We'll see. I was hoping they would come back to me with something within a reasonable ballpark. I'm not paying $2,500 for it. It's just
I
not gonna
wouldn't
happen.
pay $200 for it.
Yeah, and that's why I offered them $100. I would probably pay $200 just to get it. And just
Yeah,
have
actually,
it
no,
done
you're
with.
right. I would. Yeah, you're right. I'd pay.
But
Yeah,
I figured I offer them $100. They double the price. They say pay us $200 and you can have it. And I figured we'd be done with it. It's not like I'm putting. I put on there. It's for a personal blog. It's not for some business named Brian Aldridge. I'm not getting ready to go on some television show and become famous. Like there's no reason behind it. So I'm not 100% sure what their reasoning is, but I'm hoping that this is kind of their marketing. I should do a little research into their company and see if they offer if this is their standard and there's a price it's going to go down to.
oh, I'm sure it is. I would be surprised if it wasn't. So that
One thing they
blows.
did say is I can rent the domain name. I think
What?
so. What I can do is I can pay them. So rather than me owning it outright, I can rent the domain name, and then that way, if I can pay $49 a month
Okay.
until the whole thing is paid off,
Oh.
or I can pay $29 a month to rent it, and then
I didn't realize there was a market for renting domain. I didn't even know you could rent a domain. I wasn't aware that was
Yeah.
a service anybody offered.
Yeah, I don't know.
Wow.
It's kind of odd. Yeah, so they're offering to rent me my domain. I mean, I could pay $29 a month. Which how long would it take? How many years would it take me to get?
I mean,
to,
you might be dead by that.
$2,500.
You better, if you have a son, you better name him Brian Aldridge so that he can keep
to
the
continue
domain
my
up and
domain name.
running. Yeah, because at that point you'll be dead by the time it's paid off. Wow. Huh.
Yeah.
Well,
So,
I'll say this.
I mean,
a word,
it's 80. Okay, wait. I tell you, it's 86 months. It'd be 86 months before I sold it, or before I paid.
it's-
So 7 years. It'd take me 7 years of renting it to equal what it cost me to buy it.
and I think that was an accident. You could be dead by then.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
I mean, that's insane. Well,
Yeah.
this should be a word to the wise. If you have the availability to buy your domain, or how about this even better? Maybe you're having a kid. Maybe you buy their domain.
Yeah, because you can get it for like $10. I mean, you could buy the first 10 years.
Would have been nice if
and then
my
that way-
parents would have bought my domain for me, so I didn't have to shell out $300 instead of some stupid
I know.
Gerber baby plan bullshit that I'm sure they bought. Sorry, mom and dad, but I mean it's the reality of the situation. So there you go.
So
I'm not
this is,
salty about it
this-
though.
This is where we're at. So I will let you know if anything with that changes or if they send me an update. But I don't. It's not going to happen for a while unless they change. So.
I don't foresee that happening. So, how was your Easter?
Easter was good. So
Nice.
we had the kids. So actually, the kids went into their grandparents over Saturday, and they did or Friday night, and then Saturday morning went to an Easter egg thing in their town, and then came back Sunday, did Easter things here. So it was pretty laid back, but it was good.
Nice.
Nothing
I had
exciting.
we had a pretty intense Mario Kart tournament that took place at my house on Easter. It's on the N64. That was a good time. So yeah, that was about it.
That's one thing that's kind of cool with that. You know how we got that arcade machine is it has like the Super Nintendo games on there, so you can do 2-player Mario Kart and all that, which is a lot of fun.
We had a nice. Dude, I didn't realize how awful it looks, but the N64 with 4 players on it, the screens
the
are
screen
so
size getting down.
small and so pixelated, you can hardly tell what's happening.
Well, that's the crazy thing is like with the N64 for some reason, because they started going to those 3D graphics, it's actually harder to see on that than it is the Super Nintendo. The Super
in this
Nintendo,
case-
they did in a cartoonish way to where it was clear, but with the 3D graphics, some things get really fuzzy.
Yeah, and in the case of this, there's so many. There's 4. You know, there's 4 instances that it's all trying to render at the same time. It has to chug the. And if you play single player Mario Kart, it's all right. It's not terrible.
Yeah. Yep.
But multiplayer or multi-user Mario Kart is atrocious. So
Yeah.
but yeah, it was a good time.
Well, that's one thing I think with Mario Kart that they're starting to do. And actually, do you want to segue into some news really quick? while we're
Yeah,
going?
sure. What you got?
All right. So Microsoft, one thing that they announced this past week is they are bringing some of the old like Xbox 360 games to that cloud streaming service that they're including with the Xbox Game Pass. So they just announced this week that some of those old games that were only available on the 360 that have been in the Xbox Game Pass because they would run locally, you download them, and you could run them locally. There are some limitations. For instance, one, I noticed you have to log in. So I have child accounts on my Xbox.
Okay.
You can't load the save games from a child account. So I had to log into the adult account, get it to accept that, and then keep going, which then I can't go and play on another Xbox. It's kind of a weird little thing here. But with this, what you can do is that a lot of these old games, now you can play over that cloud gaming. And so you can play on your phone or a tablet or even on your PC. And it supports and with the tablet, with the phone ones and the tablet ones, they actually support touch. So they implement touch into the games so that the touchscreen works with them. So that's something. The Fable games, Fallout New Vegas is put on there. Gears of War, just a lot of different games that maybe were for a previous console are now included in this. So that's just something I think that just happened maybe today or in the last couple days, but that is very recent. So you'll see a bunch added to it. And I think they had to do part of this was because they wanted to get some of the Skyrim and all those series of ones. Some of them were for the older and they weren't compatible, and they added them to this.
Very cool. Yeah.
And they also added a bunch of other games that there's a list on the website. And then I got a bunch of things just discussing various aspects because I thought something that we've been talking about for a month at least now. How long have we been talking about Xbox Game Pass and like it's
a long time
blowing up?
Yeah,
we've been talking for a while. Well, Morgan Stanley, they wrote an article the past couple days where it says Microsoft could become the Netflix of gaming, says Morgan Stanley.
Man, I feel like they've been watching our show.
I know, and it's like, well, hey, wait, this is what we've been saying. So they wrote it, and then of course all these other places. This was written April 2nd, so this was written in the past week. And so I noticed a couple other places then were probably looking into it and seeing all these somewhat similar, kind of based on the same concept articles. For instance, Tech Raptor. Then they wrote an article saying growing Xbox, what a gaming monopoly could look like, and them talking about how Microsoft is just pretty much taking over the whole thing, and becoming, as what the other one said, kind of like the Netflix of gaming. Then we got here from Yahoo Finance wrote an article, and they say on here, Microsoft could finally be the king of gaming if it spends $10 billion on Discord. And this is the one we've been talking about, kind of the different pieces that Microsoft has been bringing in to really just grab a hold and pretty much make it to where, why would you go to PlayStation? Why would you go for Nintendo? Why would you do anything else? I mean, you don't even need an Xbox. You could do most of this on PC. But and they do have actually a really good, I think it was this one that had a pretty good discussion about Discord and what that could bring, how you could link the Xbox community and the PC community together, which is kind of some things that we've discussed too. through that one merger. And then also one thing that they're going to be adding is, so I think the Xbox Game Pass, that cloud app, was only for Android up to this point. And this week they announced that they're going to be very soon bringing it out to iPhones as well, and iOS devices. So that'll be tablets. So if you are wanting to try that, because it is in beta, you can go try it. If you've been interested in that, it should be on iOS here. I mean, that I'm looking for a specific day. They just keep saying soon, but it should be in the next couple of weeks that you'll be able to play that. And that, I mean, I haven't tried it yet, and I was looking at some of them. I think I'm going to just try it here locally in the network, and then see if I can go out while I'm somewhere else on Wi-Fi, try it out there, and then try it mobile and see how the experience is.
Gotcha. All right.
So that's a lot of my Microsoft stuff, but stuff that we generally have been discussing the whole time. And I just thought it was interesting that now all of a sudden we're getting these articles talking about it, because a lot of these companies are starting to realize how much of a monopoly right now Microsoft has on the console and the gaming market.
I I don't think I'd use the word monopoly.
Well, not monopoly, but you know what I'm saying? Like they have a how about a grip hold? they definitely are in a good position for becoming, as they said, the Netflix of gaming. What the place that people go to. I mean, why would you buy all these games individually? Just like, what did we used to do back in the day with movies? We would go and either buy movies or you'd rent movies. I guess you can this in a way is renting movies, but do you buy movies anymore? You use streaming services like Netflix. Very few people actually own any movies. And it used to be growing up in our days, we all gamed on PC, and I don't know. I think Microsoft's in a really good position.
They absolutely are. There's no question about it. They are in a very good spot. There's no question about it.
I just think that they're going to become the new way, that kind of like where people don't buy PC games anymore. I don't think people are going to continue to buy console, Xbox, PlayStation games anymore. I think they're going to expect a service. They pay one fee like Netflix, and it's there.
Let's see. PH says the Zoomer generation probably isn't even aware of renting, buying movies. No, yeah, I mean, that's accurate. I'm technically considered that generation. And there are faint memories of renting things from Blockbuster, but it wasn't a forever thing. So yeah, interesting.
And a lot of people would rent. I mean, they'd go and rent games over the weekend. That was very common. Like kids couldn't afford a game. Redbox offers renting console games. There's Netflix, I think, did it for a while, or there was something linked to Netflix doing it early on.
Gamefly.
I'm trying to remember what it is. Gamefly, yeah. Gamefly did it early on. I never tried it because I wasn't doing consoles.
It was too expensive.
It was fair. Yeah, it was fairly expensive. So that's something I think this will be interesting to see now that all these other people are waking up, and just see if this. I'm really looking forward to the announcement on whether or not they're buying Discord, because I think that could be huge. I'd be interested in seeing what features they implement, kind of like what we get with Amazon Prime with Twitch. All these perks. I've been waiting for another company that had something to offer like that. And I think I said at the time, the only one that's close enough, I think, is Microsoft and their Game Pass. And I think that this could be the point where they start doing that. I think they have all the tools to start offering it.
Kenrick says, what are you going to do when that game, quote, which would be, whatever AAA title or whatever, that you want to play is not on a service like that? Well, that's currently what we're dealing with in the streaming wars, for a lack of a better term. If you want to watch that show, Stranger Things, what House of Cards, what used to be Game of Thrones, you have to choose a service, or in the case of the streaming wars, you choose multiple services if you truly want to watch all of those different things. And it will be the same for this, for gaming and any other service. I mean, there will be multiple players in the streaming world. There are about 1 million of them who are all doing their things. So,
and that's true. And I think that they'll always offer the ability to buy it. I don't think that's going to go away. just like in Netflix doesn't give you the opportunity to buy a movie, right? They all have different movies and shows that come into their service, but they don't have an option where you go in and, because if you really like a movie and it's on a service that you're renting, you would buy it, right? You don't buy it so you'd own it, so that you'd be able to watch it whenever you want. I think gaming is going to be the exact same way. You'll be able to go and purchase them if you want to own a copy of it, but only rarely will you feel the need to go and purchase one, because most of them are going to be included in Netflix. It's when they drop off. One thing that Microsoft does that's very interesting is when they take a game off of the Game Pass, they offer a discount on it to buy for a period of time. Right before it gets taken off. So that's a good way for them to turn around and make instant sales. A place can put their game up on the Game Pass for a year or 2 years. If they want to pull it off for a while, people will purchase it. They want to put it back on, they can. I mean, it's a benefit for both, because you get that discount for purchasing it, plus the developer gets some money out of it.
Yeah. So I mean, it's not it's not a one size fits all. It's not a one service to rule them all, which I don't frankly think you'd want. I mean, if there was
I don't want
Netflix,
one service offering everything.
Yeah, but there's also there's a line there to straddle, which is I think what you're dealing with on the TV streaming side is not good, right? What we're seeing there is a disaster. I mean, you've got everybody and their brother owning or hosting a streaming service, and it is almost impossible as a consumer to pay for all of them. I mean, you'd spend hundreds of dollars a month to pay all of those, to pay for all of those different services.
One thing I found interesting, there was an announcement this past week that Roku is now the largest AVOD. Is it something video on demand?
I think OTT, over the top. OTT, but yeah, that's not surprising.
But they said something. They're the largest video on demand service available right now. So which means they got to be bigger than They offer more than Netflix does.
And who was that? You said that was Roku?
The Roku. Their Roku. The Roku app that you launched that has a streaming service built in. It's supposed to be the biggest in the world currently.
Well, I can answer that. Why is it the biggest? Well, there's multiple reasons. First of all, if you buy a cheaper TV at a big box, not even a cheaper one, but like Hisense or TLC or some of those kind of below name brand televisions, they are Roku TVs. Their interface is Roku. I have 3 Rokus in my house. I assume you have 3, if not more.
Yeah, I've got at least 3. I got 3 now.
Yeah, I mean, it's a fantastic device, and they've got. And I don't use their Roku channel because I do all my stuff through Plex, but I know a lot of people that do. So, yeah. But I mean, here's the thing: this is going to happen, like it or hate it. It doesn't really matter what you think. This is going to happen. So, I would just suck it up and deal with it.
Yep.
I hate to sound like a dick about it, but yeah, it's kind of.
It all works out. It all works out while these companies are playing nice. Everybody loves it when Netflix is doing what they're supposed to do, or when they don't raise their prices and everything else. The problem is when it gets down to one company, if they decide that they're going to raise the price, or they're going to do it, or they're going to put on weird limitations or restrictions. If one company runs the whole thing, what can you do about it?
Nothing.
Then this is kind of their danger. I enjoy seeing Microsoft doing so well, and really, because right now it seems like they're providing us with more and more and more. But the second that they turn around and quit offering that, then you're stuck with them. All the alternatives, just like with Amazon. When you don't want to deal with Amazon, who do you deal with?
Yeah.
There's a few options out there, but you've run off by dealing with only one company for so long. You've run off all the other alternatives.
Exactly. So, and then of course, piracy. Right. That's the logical step for what happens when these services spiral out of control, is you end up promoting piracy. That's the reality of it.
And I think that Netflix helped minimize piracy for a period of time. When these companies are offering you something to where it's just, okay, well, I can get it just as easy here. I'm willing to pay, as long as it's a reasonable price. It's just, there was a period of time where it seemed like everything, the prices just were way out of whack.
It was a what is it? There's what's it called? Like a Jameson Bell curve or whatever. I mean, you had piracy was very high in the late 90s to early 2000s.
Because if you were to buy that much content, it would have been ridiculous.
And then Netflix came along and it went down and down and down and down and down and down and down. And then all of these other streaming services started popping up, and it became you'd have to spend $300 a month to get them all. And now you're starting to see piracy on the upswing again.
Yeah, because you're going to pick and choose the couple that offer the most. But if you're having to go to this one app that offers one show that you watch once a week, maybe for 3 months of the year, do you want to pay that high price for that? That's the problems when they split up. Yeah, exactly. That when people start splitting up and it's like, okay, when they only have one product that they're hoping brings everybody to their flagship, that brings everybody to their service, that is a problem because, they're going to mark the price up and then hopefully that one. But I think they found with like Disney, for instance, people were coming to watch the one show and then they canceled their subscriptions. They weren't offering enough, so now they're trying to fill the rest because everybody's, maybe if you have little kids, want them to watch all the Disney shows, you'll have them watch that all day, right? Yeah. But your average person, they're going to watch one or two shows. They're not watching Disney all day. So, it gets kind of difficult. So
exactly.
This is way off our topic.
As I said that we needed to stay on track, we have veered very far off the road. Let's talk about E3 real quick. Hasn't been a whole lot of gaming award shows or any sort of announcement shows. But there is going to be an E3 this year. It will be different. It is going to be a digital only event, which is not surprising, but it's actually happening a lot earlier. Normally E3 is later in the year. I believe it's normally in either July or September. It's late. This year it's actually in early June. It's June 12th through the 15th. And it's going to be an online only event, which I would say for what E3 is, I don't think is that big of a deal. E3 tends to be more of a production than a show like PAX is, right? I mean, the big thing with E3 has been the keynotes in the past, which are
and they do all the video reveals and all this stuff. They have a lot of media there, so and that's like the first time you see it.
And there are people in the normally there are people in the crowd, right? But it's not I mean, you've got, hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people watching online and maybe 1,500
I think whether or not there's people there or not wouldn't affect the actual show other than maybe, the announcers acting like they're talking to the people in the audience. But I think they could do the exact same thing and not have it really be, doing online for E3 doesn't seem any different for your average person.
No. And I don't think it's going to have that big of an effect. Xbox will be there, which is, I believe it changed because I believe Microsoft said that they were going to start doing their own things. But I guess they're going to be back. Capcom will be there. Konami will be there. Ubisoft will be there. Take-Two apparently is going to be there. And they're going to have a major announcement. Of course, the speculation is some sort of or something that Take-Two is working on, so that's exciting. But something to put on your calendar is the E3, and you can get the information at e3expo.com. You'll be able to just watch it, on Twitch or YouTube or wherever they stream it, like normal.
I would be surprised if they start doing GTA 6 teasers. Start doing it this summer. Wouldn't you think they start maybe putting some things out there, at some advertisements and things like this? Isn't it supposed to be coming at like the beginning of next year?
No, I think it's for
the mid of next year, or is it longer? I thought it was coming up sooner than later.
I'm not positive, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I just haven't seen, but I mean, I've seen some teasers. They're starting to tease, or maybe they're leaks. Like about the open world and things like that. So I just figured maybe they're getting close, but we'll see. Are you good with that E3?
Yeah, I think that pretty much covers up E3. Yes, sir.
All right, so there's a quick thing on Linux gaming, and that's something you don't hear very much.
Yeah.
But NVIDIA actually made a change here recently that makes it easier to do gaming inside of Linux, because they've opened up to where they can pass through the video card to virtual machines. So before there was a thing where GPU pass-through support was not enabled inside of Linux. So the VMs did not have direct access to the video card, which of course made gaming in a virtual machine almost impossible because you're getting that delay and it was a mess. So now in their beta, so it's currently in the beta driver, they have enabled the GPU pass-through support, and now you have the ability to run a Windows virtual machine inside of Linux, and you actually can do Windows gaming directly from that. And with the new VMs, you can get pretty close to near hardware performance on a Windows VM. And now with this, you can get near hardware for the video card as well, which is one of the things that was really holding it back, because it just ran so poorly and you couldn't run any kind of a new modern game on it. So something interesting to see. And I know they've also been working on Linux native support video card drivers and making those a little bit better, because those have always been really strange. But maybe this is be interesting to see where this goes. I'm sure they have a reason for opening this up. Maybe something they're going to do on their end. But this is something that they've changed recently.
Well, speaking of old things and older games, Brian, you put a story in here about a game called Noah's Ark.
Yes.
What is what exactly? What is this, and why is this in our show notes?
Well, I just thought it was interesting because this is an old Nintendo platformer game. So it's the original Nintendo game, and they released it on Steam. So it's an old Konami game. I thought it was interesting. It's available on Steam right now, but it's pretty much just the original Nintendo game that they ported over to PC.
And who ported this? Konami?
It's some company. Well, no, they must have just purchased rights to be able to do it, because it's this Source Research and Development is the name of the developer. So it sounds like a very technical company. Probably what they did is just came up with the technology to port it over, to PC and make it work. I doubt that they've changed the game in any way other than making it work.
How much is it?
So, $7.99.
That seems like it's a lot. No.
Well, I mean,
I'd pay maybe $3. I mean, I don't want to sound like a jerk, but
no, I mean, it's a Nintendo game, So, and it's one that I don't remember really seeing. I think it's kind of odd that it popped up out of nowhere. But I don't remember ever seeing this game. But
what engine? I mean, so it must be running an emulated. It must be. Is it NES emulation, or have they converted it to some sort of other engine?
That's one thing I haven't seen. I'm looking to see if there's anything that they're indicating. But yeah, they don't seem to talk about how they did it. But I think they do this for multiple games. So this company that did this, they sell consoles online. So it says they have an interactive online store, and you can buy original Nintendo games and things on it.
Interesting.
So I'm not sure yet. So they must. I don't know how they. This is the only thing I've seen from them where they actually are selling a game. But okay, here we go. So they have over 100 video game IPs available for licensing. So that's what this company does. So you can go to them and license a video game.
Okay. So they're a clearinghouse. So they wait for these companies to kind of file for bankruptcy or go out of business, and then they snag up the intellectual property.
They might have figured this one wouldn't be purchased, so maybe they was like, we'll just, as far as a company coming and purchasing it for any reason. Yeah. So maybe they figure if it's one that's not likely to be purchased, because, how many people have really heard of this game, that they'll release it on Steam.
It's got 2 reviews. Both are positive.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just trying to read. I'm just trying to see exactly what. I don't know what it is. I mean, I'm trying to figure out. I'm very curious.
The water levels are rising, and you have to save all the animals.
Well, I'm not worried about the game. I'm worried about the technology behind it. If it's if it's just a, I might buy this just to see what it does.
I was thinking about purchasing it. I almost did. I might still do it. So
neat. All right. Well, if you're a Noah's Ark fan, if you play this game in Europe, which is where it was released, you can now get it on Steam.
Yeah, because I've never seen it. I just thought it was kind of odd.
Well, it was a European-only release. It was a region-locked game. So check it out.
One thing that they noticed, it's one of the very few religion-themed games that ever hit the actual NES, because that's not something you generally ever saw.
There you go. Okay. All right. Well, interesting.
So this is the 2015 PC reissue of the game published by this company.
It's got to be.
So they have they also have Super 3D Noah's Ark.
I'll pass on that one, I think.
All right, we'll skip that one.
Do you mind if we jump into some survival news and then maybe we can come back to
Yeah,
some of
sure.
this non-survival
Yep.
stuff? Dead Matter 0.6.0 is out. It is a
Yes.
large update, and I'm going to go through. I want to go through some of it here because there is a lot of stuff that's included in this. So here are some of the additions to the game. They've a new crafting system is accessible via the inventory menu. There's a new medical system. Player's health is now a sum of all limb health combined. Player health is now recovered via healing with a med kit or a trauma bag. Chat is now logged on the server, so it's saved. Placed items are now saved. Containers in houses that you've claimed do not regenerate and are saved. Gas pumps are saved. Windows are saved. This one is interesting. The last vehicle that you drove is now saved, which means it's persistent on a server restart. That's what saved means. And respawned when you join. But if somebody else drives it, you lose it. So my question is, how can you, if it respawns when you join, does that mean it despawns when you
Yes,
leave? But if it despawns, how can somebody else drive it? I'll read it again.
I wonder.
It says the
okay,
last
wait.
vehicle you drove is now saved and respawned when you join. If somebody else drives it, you lose it. That doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, it doesn't. I was thinking I had maybe a partial answer, but that doesn't make it. Despawns when you leave.
Well, it doesn't say
Or
despawns,
respawns
but if it
when it
respawns, then it has to despawn. What is it respawning? Like if I log out at coordinate, if I log out at 30
wait. Okay.
XY 3040 and log out and I log back in at 3040, it's not, why does the vehicle need to be respawned? It's already there. That's what I'm
Yeah.
confused by. I'm not exactly sure how it would be respawning, but it sounds like it's in the world the entire time. So
Okay,
I
how
don't
about
know.
this? Okay, wait.
Yeah.
I think here's what I think happens. I think when you log out, it despawns. When you log back in, it spawns back in. And then if someone gets in it before you do, it's no longer linked to you. If you log back out and log back in, it's no longer linked to your account. I mean, that's the closest I can think of anything that makes sense. Still doesn't make a lot of sense.
No. So
Why
I
they would
feel
do
like,
it that way.
I feel like we're missing a part of that there, but nevertheless, it's kind of an interesting.
Oh, wait.
mechanic.
When the last vehicle you drove is now saved and respawned when you join, if someone else drives it before you log off, you lose it. It doesn't that one does not despawn and respawn when you log out and log back in. So it's saying if anyone else touches it. So if you get in a car and then you get out of the car, walk 10 feet away and log out, that's going to spawn. Let's say you get in a car, you walk back to your base. Someone else has jumped in the car to loot it, check it for loot or whatever you can do.
Yeah, that makes
Come back
sense.
in. It's no longer linked to your account. It will no longer despawn when you log out or respawn when you log back in.
Okay, I think
That's it. That seems to be the closest thing that makes anything close to sense. Because otherwise, there's no point.
Okay, yeah, it's odd, and that sounds the closest that I can. I was reading that.
I think vehicle storage systems just make so much more sense. Have a place where you can store your vehicle.
I disagree
when you're logged out, where you get access to like one vehicle.
I still disagree. I think it's I don't like.
I mean, if you're going to be doing this, that's better than doing this.
Yeah, I need to see this.
Has
in
them
action.
randomly it spawns back in. I mean, you may not remember where you left the car.
I do not like the fact that vehicles are ever saved or stored. The problem with vehicles being saved and stored, Brian, we ran into this with H1Z1, is then it becomes something that you don't use because you're afraid to lose it.
Losing it,
exactly the problem. So if there's no way to save it, there's no way to protect it, you are more likely to use it, you're more likely to use it how you should use it, which is a utilitarian, as a piece of utility, right? You use it as a vehicle instead of like, oh, I got to keep my car safe. Who cares? It's a stupid car.
Yep.
I want to thank UGX5 for hitting us up with the BFTs. He's saying BFTs rule. I don't know exactly what that acronym stands for, but I would tend to agree with you, Bob. So thank you very much for the subscription.
I have an idea what that may stand for, but
as do I. So thank you very much for that. It's greatly appreciated. Yeah, but yeah, no, I think any sort of storage system with vehicles is retarded. It makes no sense.
Yeah.
And it causes you to idolize and not use a vehicle, which is I found myself doing a lot in H1Z1. I would work so hard to try and protect the vehicle that I would never
That you
use
never
it, and
drove
I'd
Yep.
lose it anyway. And it was like,
Yeah,
well,
and I
this
think
is
people
a
have
huge
more fun
waste
with
of
the
time.
utility.
Yeah.
I think people have more fun when they treat it like utility.
Yeah, so that's just my opinion.
Yeah.
Feedback Reporter now has an optional screenshot upload button. So if you do feedback, you can do that. Admins, super admins, and devs now have a badge in their name in the global chat. You can search through placed backpacks without having to open them now. That's pretty cool. When you press the Alt button when you're in a vehicle, it enables cruise control. That will so your motion will be locked until you either throttle up or down. So that's like a normal cruise control. I will be curious to see if you can cruise control backwards. I'm sure you can because it's probably set in both directions. Players can now be run over by vehicles like zombies can. The server browser is now sortable by server name, ping, player count, etc. So a whole bunch of sorting facilities on those. The Providence Research Facility, which used to be known as the Grotto Bunker, has received a second overhaul. The bunker now has several locked off sections for you to explore once you find the key cards to unlock them. For now, there's still only 2 entrances, the cave and the elevator, but they will likely be changed in the map update. They added new key cards and keys to the world. They have a chance to spawn in dedicated spawn points or in certain container types. This also affects older keys and key cards. The RCMP key card has some spots it can spawn, same with the Rat's Nest cave key and the gate key. Added some item actor spawns around the world, mostly just keys and key cards right now. This is mostly meant for testing out the new system. They added new food ingredients for future cooking and crafting. They added new crafting items such as scrap, that includes metal, plastic, saw blades, motherboards, lawnmower blades, etc. A lot of these don't have uses right now, but will in the future. So keep that in mind if you're playing and like, what the hell does this thing do? It might not do anything. Same thing with the food ingredients. These are for future things that they're looking to add into the game. Added ammo boxes that can be unpacked for random amounts of bullets. That's pretty cool. These will spawn in place of straight bullet stacks. Traders will also sell these. So it's a little bit of R&D with that. With the idea it's kind of like a random number. Added go-kart helmets to lockers at the go-kart track. Added sledgehammers to the loot tables. Added new some inventory items. A suitcase. Those can hold keys, key cards, currencies, and clothing. They added breakdown components to most movable furniture, actors, and item actors. In the future, you'll need a tool to break these down to get their components. For now, you can just rip them apart an entire sofa with your bare hands. Congrats. They added added loading screen hits regarding scrap and unique crafting materials. New rare weapon vendor added to the world to provide access to premium weapons at a premium price. Sliding patio doors and automated doors added to some locations in the game. The new RC, PM, EMT, and surplus combat clothing outfits have been added to the game, which we showed some pictures of a couple weeks ago. New terrain materials added to help the world look far better. Integrally suppressed 9mm pistol added to the game. Don't know exactly what that is. Some sort of suppressed pistol. Armor system has been added to the game. Giving pieces of clothing different levels of protection from each other. Different kinds of armor protections help different parts of the body. So that's the new things that they've added. Now here are a couple of the changes. They've added a new database system, new zombie spawning location algorithms, added messages in case /spawn vehicle failed, optimized soundscape performance, food changes. Food now has portions. Instead of eating half, you will simply eat a single portion instead. Protein now heals a small amount of HP. Carbs and sugars restore a small amount of stamina. Soda, coffee, and energy drinks now restore small amounts of stamina as well. Weather and fog effects have been tweaked. Greatly reduced chat filter aggression. Main menu has a new sky. They replaced /remove zombies /remove animals with /remove AI. So it's all one command. Random character names should show up much faster. Vehicle handling tweaks, they upgraded to Unreal Engine 4.26. Disabled car doors detaching. Upgraded claim build menu to match the rest of the UI. settings and menu optimizations, VoIP optimizations, first-person swimming animations have been added, as well as the ability to have a held item out while doing so, maybe a flashlight, a pistol, whatever it may be. The list goes on and on and on and on for all of that, and the fixes as well. So this has been the update that we have been talking about for a significant amount of time. I want to say maybe the last 2 or 3 months. The updates have been leading up to 0.6.0, and it is in fact here. So
Yes.
the patch is out. It is available, and if you are a Dead Matter player, you should go get it, because a lot of this stuff on here is as I said, new medical system, new crafting system, completely changing how zombies spawn, how they path. It's just a whole bunch of new things into the game. So if you want more details on exactly what everything is, including a whole bunch of fixes, you can get the link. It'll be on our website, infectionpodcast.com. So that's the 0.60 patch. But then there's also there's a hotfix out, and then there is
They have their April 5th update. One thing that they mention in here is they're doing pretty much a code lock on their source code, because they're pretty much doing an audit of it. Because that's something they said, that they've been going through all the old systems and looking at, for instance, there's areas of their code that they've disabled, like features that they've disabled because things didn't work right. For instance, the animal system. They have an animal system that they've been doing. They have had it temporarily disabled, so they're going to be taking this time to go through, look at all the systems, see if they're built, I guess, optimally, and then look at the ones that need to be repaired, and then start hitting those one at a time. So it sounds like they're, rather than adding new features, they're getting all their existing features working better, and then implementing the ones that they've already put in but haven't enabled, and get those all working before they move forward and start adding to it.
So with that, they've also, that hotfix is out, 0.6.1. It fixed a critical issue causing the technician character class to crash under certain circumstances. So that is out, and that's up to date with Dead Matter. A big uphill battle. Lots of brand renourishment, I guess, would maybe be the word to use for that, because it is. There was so much hype for this game, and there has been so little play.
Zero feedback.
Like literally zero. I got an email today from them. They posted that update on Indiegogo, which is where I backed it. But I just don't know. And you can't even see who's playing, because it's an unlisted game on Steam, because they use the Steam
the same way.
Yeah, they use like the creator code system or something to distribute keys. So kind of weird. I have no interest. But if you are playing it, we'd love to hear from you. You can send us a message on Gab at Infection Podcast. You can also leave us a comment on our YouTube videos, our BitChute videos, or throw something in the Discord. If you're gonna put a note in Discord, just at Brian and myself, so that we get a little notification that we can copy it into that, or put it in the news channel. And then we reference that before and during the show. So if you're playing Dead Matter, I'd love to hear from you. Just I don't care. Maybe I think that's where I'm leaving. I just don't care. It doesn't seem to have any of the features that I really want in a game right now. It's way too early access, and I just don't. I can't be bothered.
And I think, right now, a lot of people, I would encourage people to try Valheim. As a temporary, while you're waiting for some of these games to get finished, the modding system on it's been incredible. The gameplay, the building system, it's a really good co-op or local game that people have been really enjoying. We have a server for it. It's just games like this aren't quite ready yet. I don't know, how they're going to be when they consider them finished. If it's going to be like Ark, where you have a ton of people playing it, or if they're going to fizzle out. But maybe. Do you mind if we move on to another kind of similar, I guess, scenarioed game, Scum? You have time for that one?
Yeah. Yeah.
You good?
Yeah.
All right. So I was really careful this week, because there's a lot of, I didn't want to be fooled by April Fools. So I'm going through all these announcements and videos, especially when they post them on either March 31st or April 1st. I'm just thinking to myself, is this real? There's a number of things that I wasn't 100% sure on. So if I get caught on this and you're like, no, that's fake, I'm pretty sure these are all real. I'm just putting it out there right now. All right, so Scum, they put out an update called the 0.5 update called the Dead Water Update. Now there's a video.
Okay.
This is more of a kind of like a live. I think this is the live action one. No, this is one isn't. So this one shows off. There's another one we're going to be playing a little bit later. That's like a live action video that I was kind of like, I don't know, but it seems to be totally legit. So this one, they have a video which shows off. This is their official 0.5 patch trailer. It's only 1:43. Let's play that first because it's going to show what we're talking about, and then we can cover some of the different expansions they've done.
Finding Nemo. Bruce. Oh my God.
We finally got rid of that camping asshole. Yo, you, whale shit.
Oh yeah,
How
so
you
this
like
is
camping
what I was
on me
talking
now?
about.
You're so funny, boss.
It's the first one they've seen them do like this.
Boss.
Keep shoveling, you fat fucker. I'll feed you to the sharks myself.
Get some Sopranos vibes. Oh, Jesus Christ!
Boss, I think we're gonna need a bigger boat.
All right, so let's see. So, huge map size increase, total visual makeover, new water and weather. For boats, they've added sailing, rowing motorboats, dinghies, sups. I don't know what those are. Some sort of small skiff or something, I would presume.
I bet you
smaller
it's
than a
supposed to be
dinghy.
subs. You think maybe subs?
Maybe. Craftable rafts, 19 types of freshwater and saltwater fish. Fishing, I love fishing in games. That's always fun. Engine overhaul, rendering, Skydome, streaming, client and server optimizations, and some aero types. So is this actually in the game?
Yes. This is
Have
their
people-
0.5 patch.
Has anybody reviewed it? Like, I wonder, because now they literally changed their Steam image to be a,
Yeah, it's this new logo, the Scum Dead Water update.
yeah.
So they've added a lot to this update because at first I saw that and I was like, oh, is this fake? Like, are we being messed with here? But this is a real patch. First of all, they've added one big thing they didn't even mention in any of that is they added 9 I don't know if it's square kilometers. I'd have to look at how their thing is, but 9 blocks to their map.
Yeah.
So they've added a top and a side row. So all the way around, it's not quite doubled the size, but it's increased the size of the map quite a bit. They go into and show images of a number of the various zones that they've added. So they've got like a snow biome that looks really good. They show like a river that they've added. Just a lot of really good images. They've added a brick factory to it, which is a POI that you can go through. They've also added into it a weapons factory. They've added a small shipyard, windmills. They've reworked the weather for this. So this is something I'm trying to see if they. Yeah, I was looking to see if they went into details about it, but yeah, they've gone through and added just better weather. It looks a lot better. They have some images of it. Also, one thing I found interesting: the weather now also influences the waves as well. So they must have like a wave strength, that they're feeding into the wind and things like that, and the strength of the weather, and actually makes the waves get bigger as you have worse weather as well. They've added in moon cycles, then the boats. They talked about adding boats into it. They have some images, a lot of the different kinds of boats, from little homemade rafts to air-filled boats to wood boats, ones that have just a bunch of logs tied together, wakeboards. They talk about the motor boats versus paddle boats, where you have a paddle and you're moving yourself to wind. Then of course they've added the sharks, which you saw in there. They've added in fishing, and they talk about the saltwater fishing, which has specific saltwater fish in it. They have freshwater fish in there, all the different rods and reels and utilities for doing it. They've also added in a rubber rat-a-tat, which is like a kind of like a crossbow type of thing that you pull back, and it uses electric drill to kind of pull back the bolt. And then adjustments to their audio. For instance, like you can hear the direction of the way that the wind blows now. It used to be, you just hear general wind blowing, but they've actually implemented it where like the wind is blowing one direction, it's blowing into that ear. They've also, one thing that you can go through if you're interested in playing it maybe with various servers, at the end of all these patch notes, they have a lot of server advertisements. So if you're looking to get into a server, an active server, they list a number of active communities that you can jump into that have specific special rules, various loot levels, maybe no mechs, no bots, no base building, things like that.
Well,
pretty big patch for that video. I mean, that video didn't even show off half of it.
A very large patch. The map expansion in itself is crazy.
Most people don't realize like that the amount that they've added is almost, it's the whole map. 1, 2, 3, 4. So 16. So it was currently 16, and they've added 9 to it. So it means over 50% larger.
Okay, true, but a lot of it's water.
Is that? I mean, it depends which side they added.
They added to the southern portion, I believe.
So is it along the bottom and then along the right?
Yes, I believe so.
Okay. I mean, but with boats now, that's part of the playability. It used to be without boats, you couldn't really get over there. They're adding in a whole section that you can either get to by boat, or there's 3 choke points for getting across with the vehicle. Oh, it looks like 4 choke points actually.
Yeah. Oh, it kind of looks like this little area down here kind of looks like the one PUBG map.
Yeah. Yeah. And then they've added, so they kind of added Miramar or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they've added some areas. If they put the high, the high desired loot down there, and then you're making it when people want to cross over to get to that area, they have to cross one of those 4 bridges or get on a boat, that kind of, it adds a kind of a unique gameplay element to it. So I think that's kind of what they're thinking. But that's Scum. I mean, I was kind of surprised when I saw this update.
Well, I don't want to be this guy, Brian, but I did play this for Game of the Week and nobody showed up. And it is a lot of fun.
Well, there was the one time I showed up that you couldn't get in. Remember? That was the first time we tried. I ran around for a while waiting for you guys. The second time I think I wasn't home, but yeah, I mean, this is a game where it's right up our alley. Like it has all the things that we say we like, but nobody will play it.
Yeah, because everybody's lazy, myself included.
I mean, it's all right. It's a lot of it. That's the problem. Is this game does require a lot. It's a survival game. It seems like everybody's tired of survival games right now. They want BR games. They want something that's short, quick.
Oh, well, yeah, I mean that's of course the wonders of Call of Duty and Apex and PUBG and Fortnite and games like that. So yeah, that's Scum. That's a great update for them. Lots of good stuff that they're working on, and as you said, it does really meet or check off most of those boxes that we have for a survival game. I can't ever seem to get anybody to play with me, so that's a problem.
So, all right. So that's all. I mean, that's all I have for Scum. Let's jump really quickly to Ring of Elysium because this one's pretty quick. Ring of Elysium put out another update. They've been doing a lot of characters and things lately. Seems like they keep adding characters, but they're no longer in alpha. This is the one that got out of alpha, so they're not really required to add a ton of content to it. But for this one, first of all, they added Cassio. I assume it's Cassio or Cassio Kent. He's a gentleman.
I thought it was a
And
watch.
No, this guy he
not a
carries
Casio,
I mean, he's wearing a watch, but he seems to be carrying like a guitar, a mandolin, or some sort of a stringed instrument on his back. And yeah,
Maybe he's carrying a
he's
Casio
gentleman.
keyboard on his back.
I mean, maybe he's got a little. I don't know about that.
Yeah, little.
And
little
then
synthesizer.
we've got Casey Jones, who they've added as well, who's a baseball kid. There's baseball kid style, thug
looks like
style.
a douchebag.
Yeah, well, I mean, this is how they view Americans, I'm sure. Look at them. Like,
Well,
that's an American.
Again, same thing with the biker belt, the freaking Sons of Anarchy or the whatever the biker gang symbol is. What's up with that?
Well, I mean, with how they did, like, you would think that he'd be a little bit more of like a rough and gruff.
Yeah, but I mean, he's got
that's how
freaking.
He's got bare knuckle, brass
whatever those are
knuckles.
called brass knuckles. Yeah, I mean, this is not baseball kid. This guy's gonna jump you outside your car, outside of your car as you're bringing your groceries. This is not the kid playing baseball in the local field.
That one's thugs. That one's the thug on the right. The left one is the baseball kid. You know,
The
he's
left
only
one has got spikes on his jean jacket.
on
This
his
guy's
shoulders.
he's got a pistol holder, some sort of holster on his left side or right side. This guy will also jump you as you're getting your groceries.
Okay, well, how about we move on to Vivian? She seems perfectly innocent. So this is
two Bayonetta
Siren
chick. She's got
style.
two pistols.
Yeah. So remember they added Siren Style A, like a week ago or 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
And this is the now Style B. So I mean, makes sense. She'd be running around killing people.
Yeah, I like the dual pistol holders. That's always a cool look.
So that's pretty much it. It seems like lately they've been just mostly adding characters to the game, which is fine. I mean, as long as the game works well, you know.
I mean, this guy looks This guy looks like the most realistic character. He looks like a rough and tough.
I mean, the other one.
like, yeah.
Well, I think part of it is we're kind of merging two cultures, though, right? Because this is mostly advertised to Asia, for the most part. You know, I mean, the player base. And they're putting in people they view as like American people, but then they're also putting in people Americanized versions of themselves, right? Which is what we'd view the other one as. I mean, it looks like a guy from an Asian dude who is in a more, biker, rough, tough. But that's not who we'd view as. We wouldn't view that as rough and tough. That's not our version of a tough biker dude. But I guess that's theirs.
Yeah, interesting. Well, there it is.
All right, so yeah, that's pretty much it for Ring of Elysium, and that's happening. They also have a new supply box, but I'm not going to go into those because that's just mostly advertisements for them.
Do you have the ability to start a game giveaway?
Yeah, let me go ahead and get it rolled up here. So maybe we want to cover one more thing, and then I'll have it.
So while Brian's getting that ready, let's talk about Sea of Thieves for a second. We've got a quick video from them showing off. It's kind of a trailer for their season 2, which starts here on the 15th of April. So let's take a quick look at this trailer showing off the trailer for their new season. All right, so that is their April 15th update that is going to be coming out, and that's going to be their season 2. So I presume, let's see, the 15th is next Thursday. So I would guess that we'll have a video out sometime, probably around this showtime next week, showing off what's going to be of course it'll be assets, but it'll be.
Well, they've added cats, they've added dogs. I mean, they
it'll
have
just
birds,
be skins.
right? You have
That's
birds.
most of what their updates are. It's just skins.
Yeah.
So
it'll be interesting to see what all. I mean, who knows? They might add something pretty cool. I mean, they might add some new. I mean, this is only the second season. It'd be cool if they added something that was actually gameplay changing a little bit. But who knows?
So.
All right. So I actually opened up the raffle, and I've turned it on to where it will automatically close in 45 minutes. Does that work? So right before 7, it's going to close itself. And then
we'll give it a try.
it should roll. So we'll see how this works. If it doesn't work right, I'm sorry. We'll figure it out from here. All right. So I'm going to be giving away a copy of F1 2020. And this is the last year's F1 racing game. Currently, let's look at what it is on Steam, but it's usually $60. So this is a fairly decently priced. I think right now it's on sale for like $20 on Steam or something. It's 70% off at the moment on Steam. So if you're interested in this, exclamation point giveaway in chat. And it has very positive ratings. This is from Codemasters. It's a pretty big company, and it's 2020, very positive. It's a single player sports simulation multiplayer. Also, I think you can do online PvP with it. So just race against other people online, and then a single player mode.
Jay Delory is asking, was that a video just to tell us the date? Yes, it was. That's exactly what it was.
Yeah, so it was a teaser video
that's
saying that the season 2, and I couldn't find out really much more about the update. There's very little information out there at the moment. So they're holding it tight. So April 15th, we'll know a lot more.
Yeah. Let's see. So we got a whole bunch of videos.
Some of them are fairly. There's one video. I'm trying to remember.
Is it the
One
Rust
of these
video?
is like a 7-minute video. Yeah, there's a Rust video that's like. Is that the one that's like 7 minutes?
No, it's only a 5.
There's one of them. It might be one of those games that we're not covering until next week.
Well, then let's.
Oh yeah, it's this one. It's this one right here. This one's like 7 minutes long.
Okay. All right, then let's do this.
But we can save that for next week if you want.
Yeah, we'll save that for next week. Let's do No Man's Sky. They've got an update out here. No Man's Sky, as I should say. They've got their expeditions update that is in the game. So they've got a quick trailer here to show some of that stuff off. So we'll take a quick look at that and discuss right after this.
Welcome to No Man's Sky, the Expeditions update. A new mode where players start on the same planet and embark together on expeditions across the galaxy.
This sounds like what we view.
Use updated
Sounds like what they needed
visualization
5 years
technology
ago.
to discover secrets. Work as a community to unlock new rewards. Earn mission patches by conquering milestones. And voyage together across the galaxy to discover new frontiers. A complete new way to experience the universe together. And undertake unique and dangerous challenges. Our journey continues.
All right.
There you go. So they have their shared expeditions, which pretty much you start from the same point, but then also you have what they call milestones that you're working on completing together. So you can complete these in any order, and then you you earn rewards, and with your fellow travelers. So this is a new way that they're looking at playing. And then they have in the expeditions, there's some images. I don't know if you can see those on their website, but they have images of the menu interface showing how the milestones work. So, for instance, first steps, your first goal is to reach your starship, then to lift off the planet. So you have goals that you're working through together that you're trying to accomplish. It says they're open-ended, so whatever. So if you, I don't know how somehow you left the planet without reaching your starship, you could still leave, get that.
Well, no,
achievement.
but I think I from what I remember playing when the game first came out, you spawn on an island, you spawn on a
you spawn on a
island, planet rather. And your ship is not functional, so you have to first find your ship, and then collect some resources to get it up and running. So you do technically have to discover it, for a lack of a better term.
But how's this work? Because all the ships are single person ships, correct? That's how they've been up to this point. if you're with a group, are they just going to have ships kind of spread around the area that each of you
Well, no,
do?
Yeah,
Like,
but
that's-
I mean,
so I'm
but
kinda
when
curious
you
of-
when you spawn and there is a ship associated with you.
yeah, as I'm saying, only you can get into that one ship. It's like you're all in the same zone, but I'm just wondering if all the ships are kind of in a similar area with you then.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, I don't
That's what I'm guessing. So you go through. Then they overhauled the space station missions. So they said they're trying to give them better depth. They've also rebalanced through awards, especially with the higher level one mission rewards that they've done. And then they have over 100 handcrafted patches. So I don't know if those are all internal or if those are on Steam. I think they're in the game where you can get these patches. And then they have mission target sweeping. So the process of finding missions locations has been reworked to add more exploration gameplay. Instead of just following a marker, they now have a target sweep mode, which you use your viewer and it'll say, okay, it's more to the right, and it kind of helps you to narrow zone in on where your goal is. They've also added Twitch drops, so you have all those Twitch drops that are happening. So you can log in and then get Twitch drops, little things you put in the ship, a spacesuit, and a spaceship effect, and then a trophy.
hold on. What are your thoughts on the spaceship effect, Brian?
I know it's like pooping rainbow.
Yeah, it's like it looks like a Nickelodeon show. You're getting slimed with rainbow slime. Huh. Well, it does kind of fit the whole MO of this game, so it's not.
Yeah,
crazy.
and then they have weekend events. They have special weekend events that you can do if you log in. They have rendezvous points, so that pretty much creates dynamic hubs of activity, which sounds like kind of like what I was asking about. With are the spaceships going to be in an area? So it sounds like there's a rendezvous point where your various ships are. Explorer starship enhancements, and they have a little like scroll thing that shows you how the ships look different. So because they visually have updated the ships themselves, and they show the Explorer class starships. Yeah, so you can see
significantly more detail.
Yeah, and you can see there's one below that, which is
it's like a satellite. It's got some nice solar.
Somewhat
Like you just look at the solar panels, right? They're just little blue. They're just blue regular solar panels, and they've got a lot more integral circuitry on them now. They're a lot more detailed. Yeah, I mean they look good.
Yeah, so that's been updated. And then it says frequent ongoing expeditions. So new expeditions will begin regularly. The duration and length of each expedition will be unique, as each will explore a different theme with bespoke challenges and new exclusive rewards. So that is community expeditions. I'll go into a little more detail on that resource target sweeping. They did a new mission board, so that's been visually updated. Sentinel combat has been updated, so they've rebalanced that to make it more dynamic and satisfying, they say. And then a bunch of quality of life updates. They have cross-platform discoveries, so I assume just between the various consoles, PS4 versus Xbox, they now have that. A new HUD, so they actually have the same thing, that scroller with the HUD. Visually, just looks a little bit more streamlined. Not huge.
So they've added.
Huge
So
difference.
they went with more of a I call it a Web 2.0 look. They got rid of a lot of the shadowing and made it. They've kind of slimmed down. Like you can see the boxes no longer the things at the top no longer have boxes defining them. So yeah, it's definitely streamlined. That's for sure. It's a big update.
Another thing they said they've also done a lot of performance and loading optimization, so it should run a little bit better. Exclusive new rewards. So as you go through and unlock various things in the game, they have some new rewards that they've added into there. They put in new markers. Yeah, fireworks, cross save rewards. So rewards earned from expeditions can be redeemed for free on other saves in any game mode by visiting the Quicksilver Synthesis companion on the Space Anomaly. So that's
cool.
One thing.
So you can So yeah, you can unlock it in one world and then
go use it in the other.
That's pretty neat.
Yep.
I don't know how many people are running multiple saves.
Well, if
maybe it's more.
you're saving, if maybe you're playing with another person, like let's say you're playing on your save, and then I go and play with you, I can unlock that reward in your save.
But true, but then you're living two different lives, right? Because you have two different ships. Yeah,
like a single player one, and then one where you want to play with your friends.
Yeah.
They've also streamlined the jetpack unit. So in there, that I haven't used that, but once you earn that, you can equip your new jetpack at any appearance modifier and allows you to fly around. Multiplayer mission improvements, and then they have what they call Golden Vector explorers who fully complete the inaugural expedition. Pioneers will be able to claim the Golden Vector starship. So it's pretty much a spaceship that's gold. And then they have the patch notes, which just talks about a lot of these different things. So there's a lot of things we didn't cover. If you really want to go into the details, you're more than welcome to open up the patch notes and check them out. They have the 3.33, which is this, or 3.3, which is this one. Then they came out with a 3.33, pretty much a hot fix, which a few fixes from the patch. And then they also put out a 3.34 patch fixing more of the bugs. So there's been 2 updates past this one that are mainly just fixing bugs.
Gotcha. Cool. All right.
Yeah.
No Man's Sky.
So that is that's pretty much it for No Man's Sky. Astroneer, on the other hand, very similar game. They put out an update, but they have a video for it. I don't know. Do you want to play the video?
Yeah, they do. If I can find it. Yeah, actually, I do have the video ready to go. So let's take a quick look at this Astroneer update. I love the art style in this game. It's so pretty.
Yeah, they did a good job.
What a cool little game.
Yeah, they did a good job with it. All right, so this is the Missions Power Compass update. So pretty much they added new items, gameplay missions, and then an updated compass to help you travel around. First of all, the missions, they have a new control panel to track the missions in the game.
This is very GTA-esque, where you're using an in-game item. In this case, it's like some sort of, call it an iPad, to keep track of what you're doing in game. So it's not a menu per se. It's a physical little box thing that you hold up, and you can see your missions. That's very GTA-ish, and it's Cyberpunk does the same thing.
Yeah, or like a Pip-Boy.
Exactly like a Pip-Boy. Yeah, I like that. That's always That's always a lot better than pressing, escape or tab or a button to bring up an opaque menu. Yeah, I always really like that, and it's more games need to do that because it really does because the whole environment in the background, you're still interacting with it. There's still things going on. You just pull up this little side menu. It's neat.
Yeah, so they've got that in a little bit different way for claiming the rewards, and then they have what they call Big Power, where they've added some multiple power generation items. So this is something that they've tried to kind of rebalance the whole power generation and consumption system. So they talk about that's one you see. There's the large wind turbine.
Yeah, I see that.
So that's the first one. Then they have large solar panels that they put in. And then they actually, do you want to show the image of it, or do you have that?
Yeah,
one?
I'm sorry, I'm pulling them up. So here are the solar panels. They kind of look like flowers.
Yeah. And they talk about the both of those take a medium printer to be able to build. Then they have the XL wind turbine, which takes the large printer to be able
those
to
are
make.
Big boys. Those are like traditional wind turbines.
I mean, you can see the person down there right next to it. They're very
chilling.
big. Then they have the QT-RTG, which is rewarded by missions and rarely found while exploring, but it will give you 1 U of power. So it's just like a little generator that you can attach.
Is it this thing on the left?
Yeah, I think
it
it's the
looks
thing on the left. So that's
like
just
a
generating a little bit of power.
a little nuclear reactor or something like that.
Yeah, something like that. And then they talk about the compass. So the compass they've kind of reworked. You can see if you look at the image, it pulls up kind of a 3D. I mean, similar like what you see in the space flying games, where okay,
Yeah.
back to my right, there's objects. You don't generally see this I mean, this is a space game in a way, but they're using it on the ground with the player, which you generally don't see. On there, you can see like shelters, beacons. Those are tracked automatically. Then you can have navigational points that'll show up on there. It shows you true north, which is there's the N on there. Odd stones show up on there. And then the enhanced probe scanner now displays a nav point for the probe it is tracking whenever that scanner is active. So those are all added. Another thing they've added is the action wheel. So if I'm assuming you hold down some sort of a button or a key, and then it will bring up a circular menu, and then you can choose. So that's the action wheel. You can see the mission log, the catalog, the compass, the drone, the terrain tool menu. I think those are all considered actions. So I think those can be shown on there. And then other than that, I think it's mostly just the patch notes. So
Yes, yeah,
pretty big
on
update.
Yeah, actually, it is a very large update. A whole bunch of bugs that they fixed, some issues with the portable oxygen generator, and a whole bunch of other things in there. So that's
I'm putting a link to the vlog. It's like a 16-minute vlog if people are interested in more in-depth details. But that's kind of like a little podcast that they put together talking about. It's mostly just them sitting in front of cameras and talking. So if you're interested in that, who'd want to watch that?
Yeah, I mean,
so
only
if
a
you're
jackass
interested in that,
would watch two people sitting here talking about nonsense for 2 hours for 360 something weeks. Only a psychopath.
So if you're interested in
would
that,
do
I have that in the show notes. But
Okay,
that's a
cool.
separate thing that you could watch if you're interested.
All right. Is it Rust time, or do we want to cover some other stuff before we do Rust?
There's some pretty big things in Rust. There's a couple of videos which are pretty big. So I think Rust would be good. So first of all, there's two different things. There's 3 videos for Rust.
Yes, there are.
One of them is just showing a new feature. One of them is the Shadowfrax video. And then another one's a video that Shadowfrax did displaying something. I think...
Let's start off with the official Face Punch video, which is the new
I think we
feature.
should do the regular Shadowfrax video last. I think we should do the second video and then Shadowfrax last.
Okay. So
That makes sense.
let's start off.
He discusses in his video a little bit of these other things, and I just don't want to.
Gotcha. All right.
spoil
So
the
let's take a
normal.
look at the gesture feature that they've added to the game.
And from what I can tell, this has nothing to do with the April Fools, even though it was released on April Fools.
From what I can tell, to the best of my ability.
I mean, it's a lot of work if this is the April Fool's joke.
Yeah, I mean, it's just waving.
Yeah. Well, but they put in all these in-game menus. There's other stuff they show off too. It'd be a lot of work for what they're showing to do it all for just April Fools. Might as well put it in the game.
A little okay sign.
That was a little
canceled.
risky. Rust is gonna be the thing that puts the nail in us on Twitch. You can actually play text hold'em game.
I will absolutely be playing this. God, I love poker. All right.
All right, so I watched that. I was like, okay, I'm putting myself a little bit of risk posting that video on here because from what I could tell, 100%. Even though it was April 1st, they put that out.
Yeah, but I mean, nothing in
It
there was
looked
like
totally-
outlandish.
Nothing ridiculous. Yeah, it looked all legitimate. So if I find out that's not real, I'm sorry.
If the
the
poker's
next
not in there,
one-
I'm gonna sue Brian for
it
false
better be in
information.
there. So this next one is on their backport branch. So this is showing they gave Shadowfax access to their backport branch to see
What does that
something
mean?
that's coming up. So it's pretty much a development only unreleased version of the game,
okay.
showing things that they've been working on. And this one is pretty incredible. And from what I can tell, 100%. People actually in the next video he mentions it. People, because he released this one on April 1st too, and he's like, I would have not gone through all this work to make this video. You know, once you see it, you'll understand.
Now this video is long. Are we playing the whole thing?
I mean, if you want to, you could. Mainly, it just shows some really cool stuff in it. We can kind of skip around. We can talk over whatever we would like for things that, you know, where there's no talking.
All right, let's take a look.
Greetings, survivors and friends, Shadowfax here, and in today's video I have exclusive access to walk around and give you a good, hard look at Rust's HDRP backport branch ahead of its public
We've
test
talked about
period
this in the
on a
past,
separate beta
HDRP.
soon, which I'll give you all the details of a bit
Yes,
later in the vid.
they've talked about
and I have
putting
to
it
say
in.
up front,
Here
because
you
the
actually
timing
see
of
it in the
this
game.
vid, this is not what's coming in April's content patch to main. It's still very much
And
a
I would
separate
encourage you to go to
branch.
our show
But I
notes
think it's safe to say
and check
Rust
this out
is gonna look
because
very different
the video is
in the
very
not too
clear.
distant
You know, and it's going to be less clear over our stream.
Yeah.
So go check out the original video because it's crystal clear in the video.
Whilst I give those of you who might not know a recap on the story so far. Back in May 2019, the Rust team set out on the mammoth task to switch the game over to Unity's HDRP, or High Definition Render Pipeline, which boasted many visual improvements and new tech. But best of all, it was said, HDRP was more optimized, resulting in better performance. Switching and updating all of Rust's assets over would mean months of work, but at the time it seemed worth it. Well, after months of work, testing and profiling, the expected performance gains were not seen. In fact, it was worse. The difficult decision was then taken to halt all progress on HDRP and to begin porting all of the updated assets back to the current pipeline, lest they go to waste. TLDR, at some point soon, we'll get an update to nearly all of the world objects, cliffs, rocks, foliage, and even many monuments which have been rejigged and improved on. And so that's what I'm giving you a sneak peek of in this vid, along with a stream or two on my Twitch channel later where you'll be able to ask me to look at things live, so go and follow me there. I also have to say, of course, that everything you're going to see here is still being worked on and is thus subject to change, and that means changes to scaling, vegetation, performance, and quite a few things currently being broken. So, first of all, textures. One of the first things that struck me, and it wasn't a rock, but just because I spawned there, were the new shoreline textures, especially how gloriously wet the sand looks now. I'm not sure whether YouTube's going to do this justice, probably not, but the quality is an octave higher than what we already have. In fact, almost all of the ground textures seem to be new and higher quality.
Stuff looks pretty good.
Yeah, and you can see that there's like an actual depth to the textures.
Something else I thought was particularly impressive were the new textures for collectible wood and logs. You can also see a real difference in quality with some of the new tree models. And as you can see, there are massive changes to foliage and ground clutter, and whilst the density might end up changing depending on how it performs, if you squint your brain, some of it looks rather realistic.
That
Personally,
winter
I'd
looks.
like to see it
Hold on,
even...
I'm gonna roll that back a little bit. The snow
Yeah.
sitting on the trees and whatnot looks real. That's a hard thing to pull off.
Yeah, it looks good.
Personally, I'd like to see it even denser and thicker, but I guess you have to draw a line somewhere between realism and being able to cook a full English on your CPU. I will say though that I'm currently filming this on a 5K map whilst running both the server and client on my recording rig, and I'm getting about the same frames as would be expected on the current release version. So there doesn't seem to be a major performance impact for me. But then, every potato is unique. Oh, and by the way, for those of you wondering, the backport doesn't include the new animal models. Well, that's a separate branch altogether. Probably the biggest visual change that I noticed walking around though is the way that rocks look. Cliffs, mountains, rock clusters and field rocks all have completely new models which are so much more natural in appearance. Not only that, but there seems to me to be many more flat topped areas which should give us increased opportunities to build. I know there have been a lot of tweaks to procedural generation here as well, but I'm not going to be able to cover all of them. It's probably going to take a while for me to notice a lot of them, to be honest, but for instance, I didn't see any huge barrier-like cliffs being generated. These ones are much easier to scale. And on larger maps, even the mountains seem a bit friendlier. The shape and colour of all the new rocks appears to be much more cohesive and consistent between the different biomes too, even though they still all have their own little differences. Cave entrances are better integrated with the terrain. There appear to be new models for ice sheets and shore ice, and you'll notice that the colour palette's been tweaked somewhat too, with more muted tones it feels, especially in the desert. The difference with rocks extends to the monuments too, and I'll get to those in a moment, but for example, the water treatment plant no longer has an arch, but rather looks like this. And this is how the sewer branch is currently shaping up. Taking a look at assets, I haven't checked through every single thing in the world of course, but certainly there are a number of new junk vehicle models which you'll see littering the landscape and as part of junk piles, and you can even get inside some of these. Over to monuments, and there have been a few changes here ranging from minor to major. Most large monuments now have integrated subway entrances, and depending on the monument, this has meant shifting things around to a greater or lesser degree. Some of them even having received new car parks at the entrances too. At the airfield, the towers now sit on sloped platforms instead of mounds, and the sphere tank now has a completely different centre section underneath, with a sunken concreted area where you'll now find the small refinery. Over at the satellite dishes, things have completely changed. No longer are they collapsed on a pile of rocks, but they now sit on their own platforms with a road entrance and car park. The research bench is still inside one of the dish control rooms, along with a bit more furniture, but the recycler has moved to the middle of the monument, with the puzzle here being split up more and some tunnels having been added under the platforms. The monument with the biggest makeover, however, has to be the junkyard, which is going to be completely different. It's smaller, more compact, and yet more open, allowing you to drive into and all around it. And that's probably all thanks to what's in the centre. This isn't actually functional yet, but it looks like you'll be able to pick up your old banger with the crane and chuck it in the shredder for an unspecified selection of resources.
That's really
There'll
cool.
even be a public vehicle round here. Oh yes, and the lighthouses now actually work at night. What a time to be alive. As I say, there's probably a few things I've missed, but I wanted to get this out to you as soon as I could. I know there are due to be new effects added soon, but the backport is 99% done, so I'm sure you're itching to know when you'll be able to get stuck in yourself. Well, I'm going to quote straight from what Facepunch have told me, so here goes. We're now at a stage where we feel the backport is approaching the final stages and ready for public testing and feedback. Wednesday, April the 7th, we'll be opening the HDRP backport publicly, which will be available to play from the Rust staging client via Steam by opting into the Orcs 01 beta branch. Please be aware, due to the nature of changes on the backport, wipes will be frequent. We do not recommend regular play, at least until later into the month. Map makers, be aware, a number of assets are removed or updated, which will have an impact on your existing designs, requiring updating. If testing and feedback prove positive, we'll be aiming to release the backport on Thursday, May the 6th. We don't expect performance to be better than release, but we also don't expect it to be worse. For the exact timing of when this opens for all of you to test, I'd stay tuned to Facepunch's channels of communication either on Twitter or on their Discord. Links will be below. In the meantime, I'm planning on streaming from the backport branch for you to see it live this Friday, the 2nd.
Okay, so that's all past news. So, well, that's intriguing.
Yeah, so definitely looks. I mean, it's hard to see over the stream.
Yeah,
but that's why I say go look at the video, because when you look, like, it's crisp and like there's very fine detail that you're seeing, Nick, that like I'm not seeing on the video feedback, and they're not seeing there. So definitely go check out the video, because it does look pretty incredible, and it'd be interesting once they put that in the game. If it doesn't have any performance loss, it's definitely improved. The same performance.
All right, and with that, now let's watch the official Shadowfrax Rust update. This was dated April 2nd, so Friday of last week.
Greetings, survivors and friends. Shadowfrax here with a full roundup of this month's content patch, which just got merged, known officially as the Gestures update. I know, exciting, but first I want to lead with the story I broke in yesterday's vid, which I'd encourage you to go and watch if you haven't already. In that vid I showed all the major changes coming in the near future with the new HDRP backport branch, along with details of how you can take part in testing it very soon. Yes, you! And I think most viewers have agreed so far that it looks perhaps a bit too good to be true, as I did upload it on April the 1st, but I assure you I don't go in for that nonsense, and it was 100% genuine. I think if I was able to fake something that good looking, I should be on Instagram instead. Well, anyway, go and watch the video and follow me on Twitch, where I'll be streaming from the backport branch tonight at 7 PM UK time. That's if you're watching this on Friday the 2nd. So, first, a quick recap of this content patch. Proper gesture wheel was added so you can express yourself with your flesh forks, and you've got 10 to choose from by pressing B for body language? I don't know. They should also be safe to use at any time, as they won't unequip what you're holding and can be cancelled at any point in the animation with a very small delay. These gestures replace all the old ones but can still be bound individually to keys if you need to. This week's patch also saw the card games branch merged in with tables of varying player capacity dotted around the bandit camp, and gameplay has been refined now to the point where most eventualities should be covered, but the management takes no responsibility for loss of scrap or dignity. The slot machine payout scheme has been rebalanced, although the use of the word scheme in this context is slightly disconcerting. There are fewer possible rewards, but at the same time a greater chance of getting 3 of any symbol, apparently. There was also a multiplier option added, so you can increase the stakes for higher potential rewards. I also like to live dangerously. Oh, and that nasty Zed fighting on the floor is finally gone. Lest you think that development's just been about new features without regard for performance, large number of fixes and optimizations were also made this month. Servers first, floating junk piles will no longer process buoyancy if nobody's in the vicinity, which should save quite a bit of overhead. Server load should be balanced better now when many turrets are scanning for targets, and there were a number of other tweaks to garbage collection and CPU overhead, which you can read in more detail on the blog. Unity was upgraded in this patch to 2019 422, a release mostly containing fixes, but some that were long overdue, and the Mac OS version received some love with a fix finally for a crash that was occurring with graphics jobs, so these have now been re-enabled, which should greatly improve performance. Also re-enabled was incremental garbage collection, which should help reduce stalls, and the advice is to contact Facepunch if you notice any long ones now that you haven't before. The view model jitterbug, which kind of went away but then reappeared, has finally been fixed again, and if you need help sleeping, there's an interesting explanation as to why it was happening in the first place on the dev blog. The seasonal event went live in this patch and will last for the next week. This includes the usual game and rewards, plus there are some new items on the store, including a work cart themed Rustige egg. There were some quality of life fixes made, such as being able to disable blood in the options menu, a bug that was preventing projectiles fired at player joints from impacting being squashed, the hostile timer at the outpost being reduced from 30 minutes to 5, that's quite huge actually, and wearing any item of heavy armor will now prevent you from riding horses, so no more Ned Kelly.
Oh, that was terrible.
Oh, hi Grammar Horse, didn't realise it was you.
That's alright. Glad about the armor thing. Unlike batteries, my back isn't rechargeable.
Not letting that one go, eh?
Oh no, hoping it'll last at least another month.
In other changes, vehicles at Airwolf will now be repossessed after 5 minutes instead of 2. Team members can now mount vehicles in the safe zone after purchase. Revolver and SAP recoil was tightened, and the L96 is now skinnable. Happis also continues to be subject to change, and has received more love with this round, seeing the red keycard shortage being tackled. You should now find them available in all corners of the island, plus a couple of card tables at the outpost. Oh yes, and another round of Twitch drops have started, with 9 available, and the console edition has a launch date now of May the 21st, with pre-orders open for both Xbox and PS4. You're now officially up to date, so please sub to the channel if you're not already, leave me a like, and follow me on Twitch for streams, join me on Twitter, Facebook, Discord, and my Steam group to stay in the loop with my content, and support the channel on Patreon or via my merch store. I shall catch you all soon, but in the meantime, keep calm and stay rusty. Cheerio.
All right, cheerio to our friend Shadowfrax. Lots of, I don't really have
there's
comments.
huge amount of content.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's pretty cool. Rust, they're setting up to do some pretty big updates, and so we will see once those are released.
Well, and
how much of a
I
difference
believe
that-
it's tomorrow that goes on. I think, didn't he say April 7th for the staging branch
Yeah,
for the HDR thing?
Yeah, I think so. And he has instructions on there for, how to gain access to the staging branch.
Yeah,
You
let
can
me
go run around for yourself and see how it performs.
Yeah, so that will be so it's on Thursday. No, I'm sorry. May 6th. So next month. Sorry. May 6th.
Okay,
Thursday,
so
May 6th.
in 1 month from today.
In a month. And that's part of the alpha, where was it? It's called the AUX 01 beta branch inside of Steam, but you've got a month to figure it out. So yeah, about a month from now it will be out and available.
Very good. All right. Do you care where we go from here?
No, we're doing pretty good on time, so I'm
So I wanted to talk about a new game that I know I made a prediction about this a long time ago. I'm still holding on to it. But there is a free beta for a new Wild West Battle Royale that's coming out.
Whoa!
Yes, I think, and this one actually looks kind of okay. And this was 4 days ago, and they said, so I'm not sure if they just announced it the day before, but I think it's coming up this coming weekend.
Okay.
So if you're interested, it's called Grit, and there's a video. There's an announced trailer if you want to play that really quickly. There's also a Steam page,
okay,
that you can go check out. But they did a pretty decent trailer. You can go onto the Steam page and actually request to join the play test. And so I think it's this weekend. You request access on Steam, and then over the weekend you have the ability to play it.
All right, let's take a look at the video.
In the Wild West,
Ah, yeah, son.
I will be proven true someday.
Fighters.
Come hell or high water.
Those with grit
And those without.
and those
I may have to make the game myself,
Others.
but it will come true.
Team Grit presents a Wild West Royale. The fastest guns in the West. Battle to the death. So grab your guns. Ride like the devil's chasing you. Keep your hat on. And kill them dead. Sign up for the beta on Steam today.
Well, damn, this is making me want to stop doing this show right now and go watch Outlaw Josie Wales or Pale Rider or Hang 'em High, Good, Bad, and the Ugly. I mean, honestly, Brian, at this point, you can finish the show yourself. I gotta go. I gotta go watch a '60s cowboy movie. Yeah, I got busy things to do. Man, I tell you what, I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's just a guy thing, but something about that era is just so it's just
You mean
so
when men were men
interesting.
and not deer? Is that where we're going?
Well, no, not even that. It's just
You mean that? I mean, men were men.
yeah. Well, that's of course part of it, but there's just something that's so you can do if done well. That time period, you can almost space game. Okay, let me okay, hold on. Let me
back up.
Back up. I can play No Man's Sky. I can't be in No Man's Sky, right?
You don't place yourself in.
You
that
can't. It's
situation
unrealistic.
mentally.
It's just
you have no concept of what it feels like.
No, Wild West, which is what these movies and games are. It's different from now, but it's not that different. It's a time that has actually existed not that long ago. And you can kind of, at least I do, you can kind of play, like playing Red Dead Redemption, like you literally place yourself in that environment. And it's not Elite Dangerous is crazy, right? That's it's
not
all
that
fantasy.
far removed from reality.
Well, because it's nonfiction. Yeah. So something about the cowboy era and Wild West era, and again, I don't know if it's just my age, just being a guy, I don't know what it is, but it's a very the immersion with it, because again, it's a time period we're not that far removed from, is very interesting. That's why Red Dead Redemption is so freaking popular. That's why GTA is so popular. You can place yourself in GTA. Now, obviously, flying planes through the city, no, but walking the street and jacking somebody's car, that's not, I mean, you could do, Brian could leave his house right now and do that.
Yeah, people like to experience an alternate version of their reality. The reality that they're not quite willing to do themselves because they don't want to pay the consequences for living that reality. But in a game, I think that's one of those tantalizing aspects you can do, is kind of that, if there were no consequences in life, what would I do? Now, space games and all that don't fit into that because that's unrealistic. Maybe someday you'll be able to fly around in space and do different things. But I think for this, just like GTA, that you could live that life if you were willing to risk throwing away your current life, right? And I think it's the same way. This is a possible life you've lived in a different time. This would have been a reality. And I think that they still haven't tapped. One thing that I keep waiting for is when has there been a game where it's like you versus Indian tribes? Like it was like the Western, people that came in versus Indians. Has there been a game that ever has actually gone down that road? That's like an untold story. I know people may be worried.
I played Cowboys and Indians as a kid.
As a kid, but is there an adult game that does that?
No, there's no way that would be allowed.
Why not? Not if if you're respectful to the other side, if you truly portrayed them as they were.
Yeah, you can't. It's one of those things. Right? It's like, oh well, man, I really would love that Nazi video game. No, it's just They
have plenty of Nazi video games.
No, not
where it's you versus the Nazis. The problem is the Nazis can be the villains, so you can always portray it that way.
That's the Indians. That's my point.
That's what I'm saying. In a battle royale or a side versus side, as long as you portrayed them equally, right? You could have it to where, because the Indians had access to guns. But they also had better bonus. You could come up with benefits to balance it to where maybe the cowboys or the whatever, if they're in the military or whatever at that time, the cavalry, if they came in, maybe they have access to a little bit better. But then the Indians have access to bows and arrows. You could balance it out to where it shoots similar across both sides. I just think that that's something they could. This Is My Land. Yeah, that was the one they made. I mean, it was all right, but that one really didn't take off. I think it was a lot of trailer, less gameplay on that one. But that is, something like that, where you actually, they're taking the aspect of the Indian, but that's the very untapped. That's one of the only games where they've really placed you in the shoes of an Indian, correct? Or a Native American, which I prefer to say, because there's two types of Indians. So This Is My Land, that came out in November 2019, so it's a little bit older.
So let's be honest though, this grit game, so I mean this looks like an asset flip, but
it looks matter like depending on how much of this is video or is done for the video,
but it's a BR, so it's not it
doesn't matter as much.
It doesn't really matter. Exactly. Bingo.
I don't care what it looks like. I want the gunplay to be smooth. I want the movement to be smooth. So they put in the time. I don't care what it looks okay. It can be improved over time. They, as long as get the gameplay working well, and then start working on what like Rust is doing, make an HDRP and whatever you want to do after that. But I think that it looks like, as long as this isn't 100% crafted cutscenes, and actually shows a little bit of someone on a keyboard and mouse or a controller moving around. This looks like it could be a pretty cool game.
So it's listed on Steam. I wonder if I can view player counts. Let's see.
Well, this one's you get requests, you get access for play tests. So it's currently
so it's probably a different branch.
It'll only be on the weekends that you'll be able to see people playing.
Yeah.
They probably open up a special branch on the weekends for those people. In the
yeah, because there's the two people have ever played the game. So.
Yep.
Interesting. Well, that's something. So you can go and I just requested access to the play test. I've added it to my wish list as well. It says similar games that you've played: PUBG and a Z1 Battle Royale. So there you go. They've also got a Twitter and a YouTube Fight with Grit, GRIT. I like
something
me
to keep
good
an eye
cowboy
out.
game.
I mean, it may take off. You never know. It comes down to how well is it programmed. If it's programmed like
cowboy
most of the BRs that a lot of people, you know, because the problem is we've got a lot of BRs that were thrown together and not really well done, and so people get a lot of bad taste in their mouth when it comes to certain BRs. You know, especially when they see this and it's put together by a small group. You know, not every single one of them are made by Apex. You know, like Apex Legends is and PUBG.
Yeah.
But if this one's put together well, I think it could be a very fun game. It's different than most of them. Most of them are done in a future sense. This one's done in the past. It could be interesting. It's a little bit different of a variant.
Absolutely, and I like that. And again, that and you can do so because it is a time period that has already happened. You have so much lore, and I mean there's just so much stuff you can pull from that era. It's literally endless. So that's cool. Because
they've got the Gatling guns that they did. I mean, there's a lot of cool stuff that you can do that was in history that if they just do it right. And the Indians had their bows and arrows, which is like a silent weapon. I mean, there's a lot of things. I mean, not they're doing this, but you know, there's a lot of things in that time frame that you could turn around and make a very good BR game from. And someone's doing it. Hopefully, they're a decent company that actually puts out something good.
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
But I just requested it too, so hopefully we'll see if we get access
go.
to it. Maybe we can jump in on the weekend and try it out.
Yeah, exactly. That would.
It was 4 days ago that they said this weekend, so that's why I'm just not sure because they said on Saturday this weekend. But maybe they'll do it every weekend. I don't know. We'll find out.
Well, your raffle thing just ended, Brian.
No, that's fine. We'll draw it in here in a little bit.
Okay, perfect. So yeah, that's great. You can check it out. Let's see. What else do we have? Astronair, we did. Oh, Ark. Let's talk about Ark real quick. We've got a couple things from the wonderful world of Ark. Starting off, this is 3.25.17. They added some additional mesh detection metrics to the game, so those are now in there, and you can take full advantage of those. Added additional server-side logging and fixed a mesh exploit. Taking a look at 3.25.23, fixed a server-side crash. This was on official servers only, so there wasn't really a huge issue with that for other people. The excellent Adventure 6 is now live, which is their Easter update, which has already happened. They fixed a bug where wild bees would not spawn, and then additional server-side logging, as well as additional mesh detection metrics as well. So that brings us current to right now at 3.26.3. There have been no updates since Easter. I'm sure people are still strolling back to the office after that. So
yeah,
that is Ark.
All right. So do you want us to go through a couple quick updates since we're running out of time here?
Yeah. What you got?
All right. So first of all, one thing you keep an eye out on. So Apex Legends is getting a ton of Titanfall content. So Titanfall had 2 different games with a bunch of, characters and mechs and everything else. And they're going to be adding a bunch of that stuff in season 9. So that's something to keep an eye out. Once that comes out, I'm sure we'll have some videos and everything else. But that's something cool that they're going to be adding to Apex Legends is a bunch of that Titanfall content. Another thing, China, this is something we usually talk about at the beginning, but China has been making some changes to their restrictions. So first of all, they're making changes where they consider to strengthen online education and gaming restrictions for minors. So they're saying that online gaming services are not allowed to provide services to minors between 10 p.m. and 8 a.m. So actually requiring across the country that all online gaming services do not allow minors to access their systems between 10 p.m. and 8 a.m. So this is something interesting. It's also said that online education companies should not offer minors live streams courses after 9 p.m. So you can't offer any kind of schooling to them after 9 p.m. as well. So they're tightening it down over there. We'll see, hopefully we don't become like them, but that is something that they're starting to do, restricting the ability for children to play during certain hours. Another thing we had talked about, remember how we talked about how that cheating syndicate had been busted? There was some more details.
The one that the FBI not busted? Or
no, this is the one over in Asia I think we had talked about last week. Remember where it had the picture of all the sports cars?
Yes.
Yeah, so that was one where they did a big bust on it. They ended up getting a guy, like $5.2 million worth of cryptocurrency from one guy, and all those luxury cars. He had Rolls Royces, Ferraris, Lamborghinis, everything. So they actually gave some details of how that happened, how they were actually taking it, and Tencent had something to do with it. Tencent actually did filed the report that led to this, to them being busted. So
real. So that's
so
interesting. The evil Tencent, which they are. I mean, they're kind of Chinese-owned company, and they really hate everything that you and I stand for and live for. But they hate when people are cheating in their games and stealing money from them. Essentially,
it's costing them money. Yeah, so
exactly.
They're going to do the right thing when it comes to their pocketbook.
Yeah.
So that's something to keep in mind. That they called it the cheat drum program was called Chicken Drumstick. And they call PUBG over there, or whatever this game is, Game for Peace. I think it's like their PUBG clone. Remember correctly?
That's an
it's one of those
description.
It's one of those other games that over here is named something, and over there it's called Game for Peace. And I thought it was PUBG, but maybe it was something else. But yeah, so they this was all led to them. I'll have the link in the show notes if you want to go into a little bit more deep. But that's Tencent was the one that actually led to that. Also on there was a story, and I don't think we talked about this last week, but Tencent, there was a report came out said that they generated $10 billion in 2020. Did we talk about that last week at all?
No, but it's not surprising. I mean,
yeah. So they released their numbers, which makes them actually bigger than Epic. So they actually brought in more money than Epic.
I mean, they own a.
Well, they're owned by the country. Well, the country requires everyone to go through them, so it's kind of like,
but I mean, I'm saying they own the Asian game market. I mean, that's a pretty large population base, so it's not the most shocking thing in the world.
Yeah, and so that was something that I was just kind of, I mean, that not unexpected, we'll say. Yeah. And then one thing that Tencent has also done is they filed for a patent for a new controller. So this is something to keep an eye on. We'll see if I don't know where they're planning to sell this, if it's going to be only in China or if it's something they're going to be doing worldwide. But it's a patent for a new controller, and I don't know. It seems like from the thing that it has some similar button layouts to like an Xbox Series X controller, while it has that center pad on top like it does on the Sony DualSense. It has a couple other buttons on the back of the controller. So much more like the high-end controllers that you purchase, aftermarket ones from like Microsoft or Razer. So they have some images of them. Could be cool. I mean, I'm assuming this is going to be like an aftermarket Xbox controller of some sort. Because
Mad Cats.
But they have a couple extra features. So maybe it's one controller that goes between Xbox and PlayStation, since it seems to combine both elements of them. I bet you it's like a universal controller for both that has all the buttons for each one.
Probably
is what it looks like. So, and someone here mentioned it looks like crossover between the Xbox and the PlayStation, which I don't know. How can you patent that? You're combining both technologies from already patented products, and then you can't in China.
True. Very true.
So I just thought it was kind of odd that they're pretty much just taking elements from each controller and then patenting them, which doesn't seem like you should be able to do. And so that's Tencent. Another one is Chronicles of Illyria. I'm not going to go into it, but he has a long blog post. We usually cover. I like seeing his videos just because I like seeing his eyes in the emptiness. But Jesus. This is a long blog post. He put it on April 1st about gathering and resources.
April Fools. If you're interested, the game is done.
The game's never coming out. I fooled you. But this is something that I'm not going to go into it because I don't know that this game's ever going to be released. Maybe he'll do a video about it later and we'll play that.
Gotcha. All right.
Other than that, we've got some games that some new games that are coming out. One thing is there's a game that's going to be showing a gameplay trailer in 2 days on the 8th. That's for Icarus. It's a upcoming survival game. But what we can do is we'll play that plus all of the gameplay trailer next week.
Yeah.
So that way we'll actually have the gameplay trailer and we can do a little more into it.
Couple of those things I do want to get to. We just did not have a chance to do so today.
Other than that, I think maybe there's. Oh yeah, so Kojima Productions. So the composer for Metal Gear and Death Stranding left. I just figured I'd mention it for people that kind of track the people in video gaming. But that composer actually left for another competing company. So if who knows, there must be some other big game that's going to be coming out that he's leaving for. But that is something that happened here recently as well.
All right.
I don't know if there's anything else really. Did we not? We didn't cover PUBG. Do you want to cover PUBG really quick? And then
yes, because there's actually a video.
Yes. So one thing I was going to mention, Daybreak purchased. So the owners of Daybreak purchased an MMORPG publisher, Innova, for $109 million also this week. That's just a little side note. Since I always seem to mention Daybreak stuff, Daybreak got purchased here however many months ago. They got bought out, if I remember correctly.
They didn't really
by that Enad Global 7.
Yeah, and then they got split up into a bunch of different companies.
Yeah, and then they made all the. So now that parent company purchased the Innova company for $109 million. I think they made like Crowfall, Blade and Soul, Lineage 2, if I remember correctly. I think that's that company. So maybe I don't know. They do a lot of MMORPG games already. EverQuest, Lord of the Rings Online. So this, I guess, they figure kind of fits right into their genre.
And I do want to mention before we do PUBG, PH reminded us the day before it was supposed to have a trailer release today.
It was supposed to have a trailer released a week, like days ago. They messed
correct
up.
on the 31st.
And then they messed up on the 31st, and then they delayed it, and then the IGN, I guess, messed up.
I call bullshit on that. Yeah, I don't know. I mean,
who knows?
They were doing it. They did a live stream that they started because Nisco sent it to me midday, and it said like, hey, it said small delay, enjoy some chill music, and right before the show, I had the tab still open. It was still streaming, and it was still just the music. It had been like 5 hours, if not longer.
So now they've officially said that they're going to set a new date and do it again.
I mean, it's literally a video. It's not like it's live gameplay. It's a pre.
But the problem is IGN's uploading it on their website. And how in the world they could have messed it up where it was supposed to be released like a week ago?
Yeah, they're pinning it on IGN. I call bullshit on that. IGN is more than it doesn't take IGN 6 hours to put a video on YouTube.
No. So there's something.
They upload like 30 videos a day to their YouTube channel. So I don't think that's the case.
Yeah. I don't know. It'll be interesting to see, but it is just kind of crazy that happened when it was supposed to be out so long ago. And it's like, you figure you would have all your ducks in an order when it was supposed to be done a week ago.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's take a quick look at this patch. This is the 11.1 patch for PUBG.
A trip back to the highlands of Paramo. A new way to transport your squad to the safe zone. Updates to Metal Mastery and the PUBG ID system. And lots more as Season 11 begins and we dive into the latest PUBG patch report. First up, one of our most popular new maps is returning for a sophomore run. That's right, you can now once again take on the Highlands of Paramo with new ways to play. You now have the option of choosing solos, duos, or squads in both TPP and FPP for Paramo. In addition to more ways to play, we've added another instance of randomization to each game, fixed some terrain issues from the first go-around, upped the secret room and supply helicopter spawn rates, and added the map as an option for custom games. Up next, we're adding a new transport tool that allows you and your squad quick movement across the battlegrounds to the next safe zone. With the emergency pickup item, you call in a plane to grab a cable you deploy via a high-altitude balloon. Once picked up, your squad will be carried towards the safe zone until you decide to drop out and parachute back to the battleground below.
We showed
this
and
item
talked
will
about
allow
this
players
couple
more
weeks
options
ago.
for where to begin looting if they find themselves having to go
well,
for a
this is the one they
particularly spicy
actually
area
released.
or simply can't outrun the incoming blue
week.
zone. Similar to the flare gun, this device is anything but stealthy, so be warned that anybody near you is going to know what you're up to. The emergency pickup is also pretty heavy, so make sure you plan your bag space accordingly if you plan on carrying one around. We're also improving some of the ways you track and show off the cool things you've done in-game with updates to the Metal Mastery and PUBG ID system. There are now 10 new medals for you to earn through various Battlegrounds achievements that focus on combat situations and survival, or in the case of the So Close medal, almost surviving. Once you've earned your medals, you can now show them off as part of your PUBG ID. You can add up to 2 of your medals to the revamped PUBG ID, along with other ways to make it your own in the Customize tab. Show off your survivor however you like. In addition to the main updates, we're also updating Team Deathmatch map rates to be less Sanoff focused, making some adjustments to the kill feed icons, adding a log for the kill feed so you can view your previous matches, and more. One last note, seasons are getting a little shorter starting with 11. From now on, we'll be dropping new seasons every 2 months, and Survivor Passes won't necessarily follow these to the letter. As always, you can check out the patch notes for full details on these and other updates this patch. For now, shine up your medals, call in a pickup, and fall in love with Paramo all over again. We'll see you on the battlegrounds.
All right. So there's our PUBG update there, and all the fun stuff.
That's all live at the moment. So.
Yep, and we covered that when it was in its test environment a couple weeks ago. So yeah, finally
so
live.
Now, so now you can go there. All right, I think that's all the stuff that we needed to cover today.
Okay, well, let's jump into some current players here. Taking a look at a couple of different games real quick and seeing who is currently playing those. Let's start it off with ARK. 38,817 people currently playing. The 24-hour peak is 62,613, with a 7-day peak of 73,749. Taking a look at Rust, 73,747 currently playing. The 24-hour peak, 111,962, with a 7-day peak of 148,216. Taking a look at 7 Days to Die, currently playing 13,101. The 24-hour peak, 17,702, with a 7-day peak of 23,095. Taking a look finally at Last Oasis, currently playing, we haven't done numbers for them in a little bit, currently playing 1,765. The 24-hour peak is 2,419, with a 7-day peak, it's not great, but it's not terrible, 3,059. And that brings us current players, a couple of the different games that we talk about and talk about on the show, and give you some updates on the player count. So that is current players.
Very good. All right, let's go into tip of the week, where either I give a general gaming tip, and this one I figured, since Nick is right on the edge of playing a bunch of No Man's Sky, I would do that one this time. So this is tip of the week. All right, in No Man's Sky. So first of all, when you're playing, you're going to be tempted to dismantle everything for money. And one thing you need to keep an eye on is, first of all, you get 50% of the resources back from your original resource cost. That's fine. That's pretty fair. But you need to be careful when you're dismantling, because if you have a nearly full inventory and you're dismantling, you'd lose all the items that don't fit in your inventory. So if you're just sitting there dismantle, and maybe there's 5 items in that and you only have 4 slots, you're going to lose one of the items, and you don't know if it's going to be a cheap, easy to get item, or if it's going to be something that was pretty expensive or a rare resource. So keep an eye on that. Make sure that you keep plenty of inventory slots open when you're dismantling, especially if you're doing something expensive. If you're looking, first of all, the reason that you'd be doing that is you want to get resources, because if you can get more money, you can get a better ship, and that will make a huge difference in how you're able to move around the galaxy. If you're doing that, though, look at crafting, because crafting is a really good way to be able to make money. And they have, for instance, one example is the bypass chip. You can craft what's called a bypass chip. And this is used to access signal scanners, and when you use it, it consumes it on use. So people tend to use a lot of them. They're cheap to make, so 10 plutonium, 10 iron, but you can sell it for a profit. So if you go gather all of those, you just go gather plutonium, gather iron. That's fairly easy to go and gather, and you get a good profit out of that. So you can make them in mass, sell them to a vendor, and then make a lot of money. So one thing you can also do, so not just with bypass chips, take a look at the galactic market. You want to watch it closely. Find other items, because at different times, various items will be marked up. So find items that have been marked up, see what you can sell for a profit, start gathering those resources, and just sell those on the market. As you get farther in the game, you'll also discover blueprints. You get these, there's some blueprints that are rare. There's a bunch of the regular ones. You can invest in planetary charts also that are in the game. And those are purchased from the space station merchant as well. When you get these, they'll give you access to a hidden location. And if you go out there, they can be like an operations center or depot, a trade outpost. You can have crashed ships, ancient artifact sites, various things throughout the game. Be careful though, because not every single one of those will actually lead you to a special place. So you may go and it's just not worth the trip that it took to get there. It's not guaranteed, but usually they're a pretty good reward. So those are kind of some easy ways to make some money, not lose money, and hopefully it'll help Nick as you get started in No Man's Sky. And that's tip of the week.
Well, thank you very much, Brian. Greatly appreciate that. All right. Do we have a?
Yes. So actually, we in chat. We were running the raffle since it closed itself. And Jonesy, congratulations, Jonesy. You have won a copy of F1 2020. So your favorite racing game, and I will send you a link inside of Discord, so you can redeem that whenever you choose.
And if you're not
Anything
here
else?
joining,
because we need to cover.
If you're not here joining us live, you should be. We are here live most Tuesday evenings. Every once in a while, we switch it around, but it's infectionpodcast.com/live. That will take you to the current live location. We're on Twitch. We've been on Twitch, but there's always the possibility that some of these more frank conversations about countries like China and dear people and all that fun stuff may get us banned off the platform. So infectionpodcast.com/live. We're here every Tuesday. We do a little pre-show, a little post-show, and generally I tend to have a pretty good time with it. So that's it. That's it for show stuff. Brian, where can people find you besides brianaldridge.com?
Yeah, maybe Sunday. We'll see. We'll follow that. If you want to find me, you can find me at Brian Aldridge on Gab or Parler, or if you want to go check out my blog, biteoftech.com. Once again, that's a BITE of tech.com. Also, you can go to our website, go to infectionpodcast.com. Check out on the right-hand side, join our server on Discord. I encourage you to go in there, especially if you think maybe we're not covering something you think we should cover. There's a news channel in there. We review that every week before we do the show notes. So if you think we should be talking about a certain topic, place that in the news channel and we will review it. Also, we have in there, I think 8 ARC servers or something like that. We have a Valheim server, a lot of different ways, and there's information for how to connect to those inside of the Discord. If you want to get notified before we start the live show, just join our Steam group. A little notification will pop up if you happen to have Steam open on your computer. If you want to watch the video forms live or after the fact, you can do that through Twitch, YouTube, BitChute, or DLive. Also, you can go to our podcast extras if you want to get see some of our pre and post shows that we've done. Thank you, Judd, for doing that. We also have our audio only forms at the lower hand side. So whether it's an app or on a mobile device, a desktop app, there's all kinds of different ways to be able to add us to your favorite podcast app. And then if you want to follow along, just click on the particular episode that you're going to be listening to or watching. There's a player built in for audio and video. And then there's links for every single topic that we discussed during that show. So if you're interested, just jump on the page. You can listen as you follow along. Or one thing, just a little note, I would encourage you to, if you're going to be doing that, make sure either you right click and open a new tab. I should put a thing on there that makes it open the whole page in a new window, because that's one thing. I think it'll take you away from your player, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So you just want to, that's one thing, is it maybe open the player in another tab and then click around on the second tab. I'll look at fixing that, maybe have it to where inside of certain content, every link opens up to a new window or something. But
gotcha.
Hopefully, I think that's about it. If you want to support us, there's a support option at the top, or infectionpodcast.com/support, or you can go to amazon.infectionpodcast.com, humble.infectionpodcast.com, or Prime Gaming, or
subscribestar.com/infection podcast. And then, of course, I want to thank our friend UGX Vibe for hitting us up with the 38-month BFT resubscription here on Twitch. Thank you very much, my friend. Is greatly appreciated. And also excited to towards the end of this month, Brian, we've got another friend of our community that is going to be down here in the South, and we're all going to be meeting up and hopefully shooting some guns and grabbing some food and
nice.
whatnot. So yeah, it's going to be good stuff. And actually, there was a comment somewhere. I don't know if it was on. Hold on a second. Let me see if I can find this real quick. I don't know if it was on the YouTube channel or if it was in Discord about the Infection Vegas trip.
Yes.
There's nothing is confirmed. God, it was. It must
official.
have been in Discord. But yeah. So what we're planning on is if there's no PAX West, because Brian and I and Lance and Sean and Green Man want to get together because we haven't seen each other in, that'll be 2 years.
Coming up in 2 years, yeah.
That since if there's not a PAX West, that we're going to try to plan some sort of trip to Vegas for a long weekend and just kind of hang out there. And so once that gets closer, we'll advertise dates if in fact we need to. And I'm hoping there's a PAX West and we can go there and be good. But if not, then that's what we'll do. So it's still months away, and you could trips to flights and whatnot, hotels in Vegas tend to be a literal dime a dozen. Yeah. So we'll advertise that as it gets closer. We'll make sure everybody's in the loop. So
very good.
Brian, thank you very much as always. Greatly appreciated, and we will see you next week.
Very good. Thank you.
All right, guys. Well, that is going to do it for another episode of Infection, the survival podcast. My name is Nick Craig. You can follow me on Gab at Nick. You can check out my new website, nickcraig.com. There'll be more details on my new radio job coming soon. With that, if you missed any portion of this program, you can visit our website. It's infectionpodcast.com. You can get show notes, links, videos, all of that fun stuff. Thank you so much for joining us, everybody. Have a great week. We'll see you next time. All right. A long one.
Yeah, well, that's kind of our normal time.
2:17 is long.
2:17 is
long.
I thought we started later than that.
2:17 is a long recording. So,
all right. We didn't even cover two of the bigger topics.
Yeah. Hopefully, everybody in chat had a nice Easter. Let's see here. Have you seen the new Godzilla?
No, I haven't yet. I have it, but I haven't seen it.
I went to the movies for the first time in many years on Friday and saw it.
Is it good?
Pretty good. Yeah, it was nice to go to a movie. Even though I'm not the biggest fan of movie theaters, just for various reasons, they're expensive. But it was just, since I hadn't been to one in so long, it was kind of nice. Plus, of course, they sold alcohol, so that made the experience. I mean, there's nothing better
the enhanced theater.
Yeah, there's nothing better than a couple Sam Adams, summers or whatever I was drinking. Sam Adams winters and some popcorn. So
one of the first dates that Tara and I went on was at a movie theater, but it was like a special. It was like the last Star Wars. The final Star Wars that they did.
Mm-hmm.
It was that, but it was like a special one where you're up. It was before it was released. Like it was a special viewing.
It was a screening.
And then they fed you. Yeah. And they fed you and you could have alcohol and everything else.
How'd you get in on that?
Somebody gave us tickets.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So we went in there.
So you had to be drunk to, no, I wasn't. I mean, a beer doesn't make you, at least for me, it doesn't make me drunk.
Well, but except for when you take all those Vicodin and.
Yeah, I'm not taking Vicodin and Percocets with it. I mean, I'm drinking.
You make it where only one beer gets you drunk if you really try.
Drinking 2 Sam Adams and over 120 minutes with popcorn and having eaten dinner prior. Well, actually, that's not true. I did have a couple of beers at dinner. But I wasn't drunk watching that. Now, that would be. Why would you want to be drunk watching a movie? It's way too expensive to be drunk. We did go to a brewery before that and had a beer.
I'm PAX flashbacks here.
No, stop. No, it was just beer, no liquor. That's what did us in.
I'm standing in line. You guys come back somehow a little more drunk, like a lot more drunk. I don't know how. Like 5 minutes changed so much.
So much money out of pocket at PAX. So much.
I'm kind of glad that I didn't. I stayed and held the spot in our line. that night.
Yeah, it was great. It's never
Because
just
you
a
looked
paper-
pretty rough. You look like you felt pretty rough.
Yeah, I look like I look like a.
For
I
people that
look
don't
like
know,
look
a
like a
homeless
ghost.
man walked up and asked Nick if he was okay. A homeless man came up and said, "Sir, are you okay?" That's for me was the kicker of the night when the homeless dude had to make sure that you were good.
What about when that lady almost ran me over with her car, backed over me with her car?
Oh yeah, she wasn't putting up with you.
The lady in the BMW almost ran my legs over. Holy moly!
Oh yeah, mangoes. I need to go get some more mangoes.
But yeah, the movie was good. And it was a Godzilla King Kong movie. I mean, it's what you expect. There's big fights. The one thing I did like about it, there was no non-necessary love romantic drama that most of these movies tend to have. I'm trying to think. I don't believe there was any. I don't think there was any of that, which is always a nice, because I mean, it's like every freaking movie's got to have some stupid, forced on dramatic, guy chasing the girl or girl chasing the guy. There was none of that in that. Which is
nerdy
good.
dude hooks up with some hot.
Well, I was just trying to the whole time, and then all the world's ending, and he ends up saving her. I mean, it was just none of that bullshit, which is always nice. It was a good movie. I enjoyed
monsters.
it. Yeah, I mean, just monsters fighting. I mean, there was there's a lot of cool. There's a storm chaser van in it, which was awesome. It literally said storm chaser. I was like, yeah, and that guy right there. Everybody I was
You're the only guy in the movie theater who actually cared about the storm chasing van.
Everybody was like, "Hey, that's your car." The person I was with was like, "Hey, that you should get one of those," and I was like, "Yeah, that's great idea." So yeah, it was good. So if you have the opportunity to go see it or watch it, because it's on HBO now or Go or whatever the HBO streaming service, which is the first time that for a really large movie that I've seen is it was a dual release. It came out on HBO the same day it came into the theaters.
I think also cool. Isn't Disney releasing all of their or is it HBO? Maybe it was one of them is releasing
it's HBO.
Like all their films at once. Is it HBO that did? They released all their videos at once.
Well, it's not they release all at once, but when the premiere of the movie is in theaters, it's also premiering on HBO.
They're also releasing it on the service.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's one thing I didn't mention on the Game Pass too. Is there's some titles coming up that are being released same day,
which is very
on the Game Pass as a new release, which is smart of them rather than just putting the old games in. Well,
that will win people like me over, so that I will literally never buy a new video game. It'll just be subscribed to get, which is exactly what I shouldn't do.
What you need. No, come on, you're paying one fee. You're not paying $60 for a game you're never going to play.
I know, but then Microsoft's got you by the cojones on their subscription service. That's the problem.
Yeah.
So for the rest of your life, you are paying Microsoft for Game Pass. But if they have same day releases, it's pretty much a no-brainer at that point. So yeah, trying to think. Easter did as I mentioned, had a Mario Kart tournament, did some brunch, then went out to a Japanese hibachi place for dinner there was 11 of us, so it was good. Had a good time.
We set up our the trampoline out in the backyard for the kids.
Oh, nice.
And I ordered a big net that goes around it so that they can't throw stuff in the neighbor's yard and they can't bounce Wyatt off.
Well, that's
because he's so small.
Yeah.
They
could lay down.
They could ricochet him across. I don't want him landing on the other side of the fence. Is what I'm concerned of, because it's like near their fence. So we're putting up like these giant nets that keep them inside of the trampoline. That's pretty funny. Because that's the thing is, I have to be out there with them, like when we're bouncing, because sometimes he'll just bounce straight sideways, like for some reason the way he's on it, like it sends him side, and I catch him in midair before he goes flying off.
Damn,
it's pretty crazy. So nets. That's what we're doing.
Brian, I've got a camping trip planned.
Oh yeah,
which I've never done
like
before.
In a tent.
Yes, I've got a tent coming on Thursday.
Nice.
So as that gets closer,
you've never camped before, or
I've never tent camped. Actually, I've never really been camping in general. I mean, I've done cabin camping a time or two which is not really. I mean, it's not really camping. It's like staying in a hotel. It's like staying in a shitty hotel. It's not really it's not. I mean, there's not much to it, but
I'm not much of a camper.
I don't know.
I mean, I don't mind it, but I like air conditioning and heating.
Yeah, so do I. But I'm looking forward to this. We're going to the.
If you go with a bunch of friends, it's fun. I enjoy it. Like we go up to there's a town where my wife and her family own property, like cabins and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I enjoy going up there, but it's in a cabin. I don't.
Yeah, so there's going to be 5 or 6 of us going. I really enjoy fishing, which is something that I like to do. So I'll be fishing. It's it's just a regular campsite, no electricity. There are public showers, I believe, inside like it's a state park, so there's some sort of shower facility or multiple shower facilities.
Yeah.
So yeah, that'll so get some camping supplies and get ready for that. What I'm really looking forward to the most is showing off Chef Nick in the wild. I mean, I don't want to sound like a prick more than I do. Anyways, but I have since I've moved and now have like a nice full kitchen. I've turned into quite the chef. Like I mean, I'm like every once in a while you make something and you're like, God damn, like this worked. This came out really well, and like this worked, and yeah. So, and none of my friends cook. None of them. So it's like,
well, it's something that this new generation just doesn't seem to really focus on.
Yeah, I mean, I like eating.
That's one thing I appreciate. My wife is an excellent. Like, if I say, "Hey, wife," I don't say, "Hey, wife." If I say, "Hey, honey," if I asked her to make chicken fried steak, she'd sit down and make me a chicken fried steak from scratch.
Damn,
stuff like that. Like
is she single?
Not anymore. So I took that over. But one thing I did appreciate, I told her, I said, I appreciate the fact she's the first person, like, since I moved out of my parents' house, the first person who's cooked for me. So
you're a pretty good cook.
Oh yeah, I mean,
you have to be. Yeah. And I mean, and
it's like I've always cooked for myself, and she'll cook me anything I want. It's pretty cool.
I enjoy cooking. Cooking's fun.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of excited. I'm gonna get myself a little Coleman grill and bring the cast iron pan out there, and I don't know, make some steaks on the cast iron.
So you should talk to Tara about your cast iron pan, because
I season mine. I follow the whole.
Okay, I was gonna make sure.
Yep. After I'm done with it, I rub it with oil, put it on the burner. I'm
exactly okay. So you're doing all the things you're supposed to do. Okay.
Yeah,
I just did the same thing with like my wok. I have a wok, so I seasoned it all. Before.
I just bought a wok, but it's not like a real wok. It's like a shitty stainless steel wok. That you can't. It's like a non-stick. You don't season. You can't season it. It doesn't do anything. But I'll tell you what, man. Woks are really
great.
neat to cook in.
Yep.
I wish. Do you have gas?
I've got two woks. I have electric just because I put in the gas here, and then I haven't run a line all the way out to the kitchen. But if we get a new, because she's used to gas ovens.
I want gas. So if
bad. You want it or you hate it?
Oh, dude, I want it. It's cooking on gas, especially with something like.
If we get a new stove, I'll run it out there. But until then, I'm not going to buy a new. I'm not buying a new stove yet. But when if we ever get a new stove, which at some point we will, I'll get a gas one.
So the debate between gas and electric is good. Certain things like using a wok or a cast iron pan, having a flame is far superior. Yeah. But for example, in my opinion, cooking something like an egg in a non-stick pan, electric is because you have actual temperature control. It's way more consistent.
A little more accurate.
You don't have to worry about hot spots. So that's there's pros and cons. I guess it depends on what you cook. I have gas. Yeah. What's so special about it? Well, in the U.S., I mean, not every, like where I live, there's no natural gas. So if you want a gas, you need to have LP, propane tanks put in.
See, they didn't run natural gas until however many years afterwards. So I had natural gas ran to my house when I had my furnace replaced. So at that point, so there's gas there, which then I put in a new hot water heater, and there's gas to that. But if I was going to run it to the kitchen, then I'd run it to the washer
There's lots
and
of
dryer.
areas. Actually, I wouldn't say most. If you don't live in like a city, you most likely do not have natural gas. Like most people do not have natural gas.
Growing up, I didn't have natural gas at my parents' house, but that's something that was put in later. So like as your city, like Boise,
As your city
grew
grows,
pretty
they'll
big,
come in and do it.
and then all of a sudden we had natural gas. But early on, like very few people had natural gas except for in some subdivisions here.
Down here, it's not very popular because most of the houses are built on slabs. So like, for example, I don't even know what they would do with, like, I don't know how they would get gas in here.
I don't know.
They'd pull up the flooring, I guess. I mean, I don't know how you would get through. I mean, you have to get through this. It's
or
not
run a
crawl
pipe
space.
along the edge.
Yeah. So
Who knows?
it's not very common down here, but every once in a, I've got a friend that's got gas, and I've cooked over there a time or two, and it's cooking on gas is cool. I like it's nice, but it's got its pros and cons. But I mean, I do have a grill with a little side burner, so I mean, I guess I technically could.
Yeah,
cook on gas,
I'm
but
looking
that
at getting
doesn't work as well.
I'm looking at getting a new grill. My chickens used ours as a roost for a little while, and so they covered it with poop. So we're going to toss that one.
Use it. If you're looking for one, get a charbroil.
I'm getting a Traeger. Well, I was going to get.
Oh, you're getting a Traeger. Okay, so you're getting like a real deal grill. Okay.
Yeah, get a real grill.
I got a. I have
so
a
that way you
char.
can smoke and everything else.
I got a char. My parents got me a charbroil when I moved in, and I actually made dinner on it tonight. I was out there with doing my tick 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 with the tongs, just sitting out there clicking the tongs. So in my city with natural, I'm in a city with natural gas, but was laid here before electric stoves were even a thing. Oh yeah, that doesn't surprise me over in
well, especially
Europe.
over in Europe, the cities tend to be older. Here, the problem is a lot of the stuff was Boise, wasn't around 200 years ago.
I mean, this house I'm in was built in 95. So I mean, it's not, it's not, and it's not even actually in the city. It's in the county. It's on the outskirts of town. Alrighty, boys and girls. Well, thank you for joining us. Hopefully y'all had a nice,
thank you.
Hopefully had a nice Easter. We'll see you next week. Make sure you're in our Discord and yeah. Have a great week, everybody. Bye-bye.